button. Sorry, it's a black button to turn it green. There we go.
Okay. Black, not green. Water supply and Esmeralda development. First, I trust that contracts are in place still for diesel-operated backup generators for our water pumps. That was the case back in 2019. I trust it's still the case. Two, I trust that the city policy is still for 85% of the water towers being filled, and that jumps up to 90% filled during red flag warnings. Also in the past, when it appeared that growth in the city could be hampered by an almost maxed out water supply, the city actually partnered with private firm Bear Republic, and that was back in 2014 to drill 2 new wells and ensure both business and residential growth could be accommodated. And I trust that with the massive Esmeralda development that capital expenditure funds are being provided by the developer as well to ensure that water supplies are maintained for residents of the city that are already here. Furthermore, I'd like to see that the city is working with the federal government on overturning PG&E's attempt to tear down the dams that are threatening both the agricultural livelihood of residents along the Russian River and as well as ensuring Cloverdale's future water supply, especially with the new developments that are coming in, such as Esmeralda. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rob. Any other public comment? Come forward, sir.
I am Sergio Sales. I live at on South Foothill Boulevard, and I was wondering how Cloverdale or even the county can actually put on, residents on a contaminated site. Everything I've seen, the wells are not capped, they're not. And what does Esmeralda bring to Cloverdale? It's supposed to be a gated community where only the people that live there are going to be able to go in there. We have failures on our infrastructure as it is with sewer and all that haven't been addressed, and yet we're inviting somebody else. And just like the gentleman prior to us, to me, they're going to get the water. Who's going to regulate them? I don't believe that having a gated community where nobody has access, they're not going to pay, the city taxes because they're far enough away that they're not going to be able to contribute to the well-being of Cloverdale. And we're already having issues with businesses not being able to make it, because we're not, the city itself, there's not enough here for us to keep us alive. And then we're going to try to have somebody else that's not going to do anything for the community invite them into a space where we, like I said, it's by the airport, but I believe it's county. But I want to know how this can be addressed. Like I said, I've seen the pictures of the oversight before the bypass came through, and I've read up on the contamination that's there, and I'm just wondering, what are you guys, you guys are going to let them come in and just have free will with our water that Lake Pillsbury's, they're trying to take down all these dams. We're not going to have the water. And then they're going to suck the water table dry for the farmers that are here. We already have that with the vineyards, okay? We don't need more people pulling from a source that's insufficient.
Thank you, sir. And one thing I want to mention is we do have a full town hall that will address those questions on February 5th over at the Veterans Hall. Please be there and come, and Esmeralda is going to give a presentation and answer most of those questions for you. Thank you, sir. Any other public comment? Okay. Yes.
Can I get a microphone? Can I get a microphone?
Oh, yeah.
Does that sound okay? Okay. Thank you, City Council, and to the people of Cloverdale for being involved and caring about the future of this truly great Californian town. I keep bringing up this point because I think it's an important one and speaks of the unique situation and challenges developing the former Masonite site presents. Myself and others have only been able to find one other property in the United States that was once a former wood treatment facility contaminated by pentachlorophenol, rezoned residential. This site is in Missoula, Montana. It was also a state Superfund site, like the former Masonite property. What I find interesting is in the first article I came across about the Montana property is this. It states, in 2016, the Department of Environmental Quality ordered residential level cleanup on about 10 of the 19 acres. What I'm at a loss with this is how it was determined that the Masonite property was at residential level cleanup in the first place. Was there an agency that ordered residential level cleanup on the Masonite property? Did anything like that happen? What tests were done on the former Masonite site to show it is safe for humans and housing? Or was none of this required because of the changes made to the Cloverdale's general plan, which from my limited understanding of allow for some exceptions to be made on specific properties? Because of its specific plan status, it also sounds like Esmeralda Land Company will get to use old or previously approved environmental impact report and environmental site assessments done for the Alexander Valley Resort. Can the city require Esmeralda Land Company to do a comprehensive soil analysis at depth? There's only been 2 soil testing events I have found, and those happened in 2007 and 2016. Both which were only shallow soil samples of a foot or less, which tells us little about the contamination that remains outside of the deed-restricted area. If so, I'd like to propose an independent citizen advisory council to research and select an environmental consulting firm, and also a place where people can easily find like information about these reports if indeed they are using them. Like, I want to make sure that I'm looking at the right stuff, like if I'm trying to figure out what they're using. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Any other public comment? I'm seeing none. Okay. We have written comments. If you guys would like to read the written comments, there's a couple of them that just came out right here. They are in the agendas that are posted online, also copies of the agenda down here. All right, let's move into the student liaison report. A great report, by the way. I read it. It's awesome.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Valeria Anguiano. I am the student liaison. Today we're going to start off with, in January, Cloverdale High School's focus on academic planning for the upcoming school year. Cloverdale High School hosted a course fair and course information night to help students and families explore classes and graduation pathways. Students receive course request forms and will submit them by January 26th with parent signatures required. On January 21st, Cloverdale High School welcomed 8th grade Washington School families to campus for a bilingual parent information night and course information events. Families learned about graduation requirements, academic expectations, available supports, and new course offerings. These events support informed academic choices and straighten communication between families and educators. College financial aid and scholarship support. The counseling department is actively supporting Cloverdale High School seniors with post-graduation planning and financial aid access. Key opportunities include FAFSA, Cash for College workshops, and access to local regional scholarships through updated Cloverdale High School scholarship list, programs such as 10,000 Degrees, career and workforce development opportunities. Cloverdale High School students are being encouraged to participate in hands-on career programs, including a representative from Santa Rosa Junior College Culinary Department visited campus to share information about culinary pathways and post-secondary opportunities with students. North Bay Construction Corp.'s a 3-month training program in construction trades and job skills for high school seniors to learn basic construction trades and job skills. Skills taught electrical, plumbing, basics, concrete work, heavy equipment, operation, tool handling, and safety, blueprint reading, and applied math. Paid environmental leadership work experience. Applications due February 15th. These programs provide opportunities for students to learn about pathways beyond traditional college routes and promote workforce readiness. Family and community engagement. Cloverdale High School is strengthening family partnerships through monthly bilingual virtual workshops on youth mental health hosted by the Sonoma County Office of Education and Community Partners. Parent resource materials to support student access from home. Dialogue meetings to engage families in school decision making. School climate and student life. Winter sports season is coming to an end and school community is encouraged to come out and support student athletes in wrestling, soccer, and basketball as they finish their season strong. Student clubs and leadership groups remain active and engaged. Latinos Unidos and the Book Club continue to meet weekly during lunch, providing spaces for student connection and culture engagement and academic achievements. As spring approaches, baseball, softball, and tennis programs are beginning signups and highlighting continued opportunities for students to participation in athletics. The junior class is hosting Seas Candies for fundraiser to support prom planning and student activities. Upcoming school closure, Cloverdale High School will be closed from February 12 through February 16 in observance of President's Observed Holiday and Citrus Fair.
Perfect.
That's it.
Thank you very much. That was an outstanding presentation. Well written,
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you. Does the dais, anybody on the dais have any comments?
Thank you, Valeria, for the very extensive and complete report. It's really important that our community hears about some of the future job opportunities, educational scholarships for students. It's a great time when everyone's here to hear that information. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one last thing. Yesterday, Cloverdale High School's wrestling team unexpectedly lost the life of their wrestling coach. He was young, he was in his 40s, an amazing guy to our kids of our community. They loved him. They've been working with him for about a decade now, and I just really wanted to give my condolences to all the people that have been involved, everybody from his family to the family that he had on the mat. They loved their coach, and he's going to be dearly missed. So please pass on our condolences.
Thank you. All right, let's get into D1, new police officer introductions. Officer Dow and Officer Eubank. Chief?
Mayor, council members, city manager. I kind of give you a quick picture of what their journey was, which started about a year ago with their application process and the hiring process. They went through a background process, joined the police. We hired them, sent them through the police academy in July. They graduated in December, and now they're on their 8th week of FTO with our agency. And they're on schedule to get off of FTO, which is field training, in April, mid-April-ish. So that's kind of the broader picture of their journey so far. First, I'd like Officer Dowell to come up. I'll introduce Officer Dowell. So Officer Dowell, he's you can step back. He's British. So I told him the first day he started, we're going to have tea, and his digestive biscuits. Doesn't sound that great, but it's a thing, I guess, over there. So we had tea and biscuits. So Lloyd is a graduate of the SRJC 218 Basic Academy and enters law enforcement at age 36 as a second career. He lives in Cloverdale with his wife, Gabriella, their 2 children, Esme, did I say that right? And Frankie. Before law enforcement, Lloyd served 13 years in the British Army, deployed to multiple locations around the world, including Afghanistan and Ukraine. He met his wife during a training exercise in Coronado, San Diego, and moved to the United States permanently in February 2023. He arrived, after arriving, he spent nearly 18 months working in the IT department at Sonoma State University before deciding to pursue a new long-term career in law enforcement. In his free time, Lloyd enjoys physical training, golf, and spending much time as possible with his family. Lloyd looks forward to helping make Cloverdale as safe as possible and serving the community in any way he can. Lloyd Dow. He's going to have his wife come up, I think, to pin his badge on him. You could just stick him on there.
Officer Dow, don't go too far. When we get done with both of these, there's going to be some pictures, so stand by.
Officer Eubank, if you can kind of hop down here. Don't hurt anything on the way down. As you can tell, these are two great cops. You know, they fit our community just perfect. So Michael Eubank Sr. is a devoted husband, father, and a man of faith from Southern California. Raised in Corona, he was a standout football player at Sentinel High School and went on to play Arizona State as their quarterback, where he actually met his wife Elizabeth, who is his greatest teammate in life. After college, Michael played professional football in Germany, Mexico before answering a different calling, law enforcement. A lifelong protector of problem solver, he was inspired by both his upbringing and his desire to serve others with integrity and compassion. Michael is a proud father of three, LMA, Emma Grace, and baby Michael Jr., who was actually born while he was in the police academy. And he has deeply family values, faith, and community. The Eubank family is honored by this opportunity, and Michael is proud to serve and protect the Cloverdale community with humility, dedication, and heart. I will give you a quick. I got an email from a person he contacted this a couple weeks ago. It was a good email, but it kind of shows the kind of character he is, and it was from a mother of a traffic stop he did on a 16-year-old boy who was just, he never got in trouble. He was really distraught when he was contacted, which is the worst thing, getting pulled over by the cops for his window tint. So unbeknownst to Officer Eubank, his son called his mother while he was during the traffic stop and left his mother on speakerphone when he came up and contacted him. So during the contact, his mother explains to me, that he was very caring, kind of coached the kid to calm down. He's safe in a safe environment, and came back a few times to reassure him he's going to be okay. So he ended up with a warning. Shame on you. He gave him a warning, and then ultimately told the kid, sit for a few minutes because he was crying before you go to school so that you can compose yourself, and complete the traffic stop. But that's the kind of character, that we embody as Cloverdale police officers, so we try to make the best of a lot of context. He's going to have his lovely wife come up and pin his badge on him. And kids. You'll take a photo with them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just see if we have any comments. Thank you. Both of you, the new police officers, you're joining a great group of officers, great leadership in this town, and good luck. You look like you're going to be an outstanding match for Cloverdale. So I want to bring it to the dais. Anybody else have any comments?
Welcome to the department, Officer Dow and Officer Eubank, and congratulations on the newborn.
Congratulations, and thank you for serving Cloverdale.
Gentlemen, welcome aboard. I've got one question for Officer Dow. I know, Chief, you said he was from England. You speak English? Yeah. Welcome aboard.
They have an accent.
First, Officer Dell, I want to say thank you for your service. And second, I want to say welcome to the family, because that's what this is here. Cloverdale is all about the community, and it sounds like on your traffic stop, you already recognize that and are part of that. So I'm excited to have you guys here, and so thank you so much for everything, and thank you for your service on our police department.
All right, let's do some pictures. Go ahead, man.
Probably right now. Me too. That one slide. About to have a meeting come down, so let's just get in the front. This one first. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That one. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
You're about the only one that gets close to that.
All right. Okay, we're all clearing out here.
I know, right?
All right, we'll move into item F, consent calendar. All items under the consent calendar will be considered together by one action of the city council unless any city council member or member of the public requests that an item be removed and considered separately.
Thank you, Mayor. I did ask for item F5 and F7.
Okay. F5 and F7. Anybody from the public like to pull an item? Seeing none? Okay.
I'll make a motion for F1, 2, 3, 4, and 6.
You have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Roll call vote, Mike.
It's going to throw me off here. Councilmember Lasky.
Aye.
Councilmember Marquez.
Aye.
Councilmember Morgenstern.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Lance.
Aye.
And Mayor Wheeler.
Aye. All
I'm
right.
probably going to mess that up tonight. I apologize.
Okay, we can move into discussion on item F5. Go ahead, Councilmember Marquez.
Okay. Just wanted to pull this item from consent calendar due to a potential conflict of interest that warrants public discussion. Because the contract involves an immediate family member of a sitting council member, I believe it's important that we clarify conflict of interest, compliance, and recusal before proceeding.
So for those that don't know, on F5, this is a contract that is for my brother for I think it's a $12,000 contract for an electrical job. My brother is a sole proprietor. I have no financial interest in any of this. I have made a point with the city manager to not be part of any conversations for family members that have possible contracts, and I met with the city attorney to make sure that I was clear and did not have to recuse at this point. So I'd like to, on the record, ask for him to speak.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. So under the Political Reform Act, a public official has to recuse themselves from decisions in which they have a financial interest. So maybe it involves a source of their income or their real property. And based on what you said, you have no financial interest here, and so there's no requirement to recuse yourself under the law.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the council?
Hold on, I think city manager.
Derek, do you mind coming up and just summarizing how you selected the electrician?
Yeah, so this is a result of the purchase of the two buildings, the portable school buildings. And, it is often that we do these smaller contracts and I get asked who, what, where, why, and when. So the big determining factor was availability and background. This specific contractor had already worked on these exact units for the school district and done some additional pro bono work. And so he was very familiar with these units. So I identified that would expedite the process. And he had current insurance with the city, which is a kind of a, sometimes I'll contact electricians and they'll say, well, I don't have this high level of insurance currently. We'll get it and then we'll, push your job down the road. Him having it, currently could expedite that process. So that's why we wanted to, just go with someone who's familiar and who could get it done. Okay.
Any comments from the council, Mark?
I have a question. Because it's a smaller job, is that why you didn't get other bids or? Yeah, I'm just curious why.
Yeah, just because of the background and we're kind of attaching it to the larger project.
None.
I want to say thank you for pulling it.
Yep.
As a matter of transparency, I wanted to make sure that was on record. I would have pulled it if you didn't.
Yep.
So thank you.
Yep, thank you. All right, let's bring that item to vote, bring it back here.
Well, you're going to have to get a motion for it
Oh,
first.
motion, yeah.
I'll make a motion for F5.
I have a second. Sorry, guys.
I second that motion.
Okay, Mike, bring to vote.
We can go back to the old-fashioned way if you'd like. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion passes.
This passes. All right, now let's move on to item F7, which was also pulled.
Yes, so my comment on F7 is I would like to see us adopt the tentative schedule. I kind of like the way that we did it last year. If there was no need for a meeting, that we canceled it. I think adopting the tentative schedule kind of keeps the public in the loop a little more, where they don't feel like they're going to get surprised by a meeting that they kind of have to check in constantly to see if it's going on. At least if they know a tentative schedule, they know at least once a month to check in to see if there's going to be a meeting. It makes it easier for the public to participate. So I would like to amend that to adopt the tentative schedule.
Okay. Any other comments?
I have a comment. Yeah. We all voted to have some of us voted to have subcommittees, but I'm having an issue with subcommittees. I think they're great because it's more of an intimate setting. But my issue with subcommittees is sometimes things go to subcommittees that I think should really be a decision made by all of us instead of two of us. And so my comment is I think any major decisions this year really need to be kicked back up from the subcommittee and made to all of us.
Okay.
Rather than just two people deciding on something like, say, oh, if we want to buy that parcel, we have to get a grant. Well, two people shouldn't be deciding on that. It should be all five of us.
Well, and that's how we were doing it right there. It's the subcommittees, and then a lot of the subcommittees come up, and then at the end of the subcommittee meeting, they're always given to full council. That's how subcommittees work. It's just an idea of us, and then it's only 2 of the members doing it, so we bring it up to full council for adoption or approval on that. So I agree with you, yes, they do need to come up to everybody, and that's why we do it that way. So any other comments down there from council member?
This was one of the options that we had on the table, and I'm totally for that amendment, so I have nothing wrong with that. So if you wanted to make a motion with that amendment, I would second it.
Yep.
I'll wait for you.
So I'd like to make a motion to adopt a resolution of the City Council of the City of Cloverdale adopting the 2026 roster of subcommittee, joint committee, and regional board committee appointments and the 2026 meeting schedule to be amended with inclusion of the tentative schedule provided.
Do I have a second?
I second that motion.
Okay, Mike?
Just for full transparency on the schedule, that part of that resolution was the 2026 meeting schedule, which included the cancellation of the first meeting in July, conflict, the second meeting in November and the second meeting in December. So with that, we will likely not have cancellation notices since that's just the meeting schedule for 2026. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
All right. Cool. All right, let's, no public hearing, let's move into new business. Consider appointments of Citizen Oversight Committee for Sales Tax and Utilities User Tax.
Thank you, Mayor. This item is the proposed appointment of the Citizens Oversight Committee for both DD, which was recently passed, and the UUT, which is about 2 years old. Both require the establishment of an oversight committee, so we're going to do both together, which is more efficient, obviously. They're comprised of 3 members. We did do quite a bit of advertising online and asking people in the community if they were interested. We did get 3 applicants. So we got Craig Carney, who's the current planning commissioner and a former business owner, Robert Maddock, who's an attorney, and Mike Nixon, who's a local business owner. This is your opportunity if you'd like to ask them any questions about their interest, or if you have any interest in them, now would be the time to do that. If you're okay with these 3 folks, then we have a resolution that you could adopt and we can move on with our oversight committee.
Any questions from the dais? Seeing none?
I'm familiar with all 3. They're wonderful members of our community, and I'm excited to have them on our team. So thank you guys for putting your name in the hat. Thank you guys for being willing to take the time to do this.
I'm familiar with 2 of them. I'm not familiar with you, sir, but I will get to know you. I'm familiar with Mike. I'm down there about every Friday, so yes, thank you. And Mr. Carney right there, I've been on some boards with him, so I think we got some outstanding folks in here. So thank you very much for stepping up and doing this for us. Appreciate it. Is there any comments from the public on this? Seeing none, thank you. So we have a motion. We motion for this item right here. Do we have a motion for this?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the resolution of the City Council of the City of Cloverdale appointing 3 citizen members to the Citizen Oversight Committee for Sales Tax and Utilities Users Tax.
I would like to second that motion.
Mike, bring it to a vote.
All right, with the motion as second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay.
Motion passes.
Motion passes 5-0.
You guys so much. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to it.
Appreciate your continued service to Cloverdale. Thank you.
All right, H2. Let's move into street maintenance funding update. Council Director, or go ahead.
So Derek Montani, our Public Works Director, has a presentation. I think our goal tonight is really to start the conversation about the use of Measure DD.
Yep.
So, I mean, the measure did include parks, public safety, and streets. I think tonight we want to focus mainly on the streets. I think we're looking for direction tonight, so we're going to be proposing some ideas, and we'll come back as we start to develop those ideas. As we know, as more money comes in, we've only gotten 1 quarter of payment so far, so there's that. So I'll just turn it over to Derek.
1 second, Mayor, for the presentation.
Number 4 on the list.
Yeah, in the packet's the presentation, and then also there's kind of a rough guiding document, kind of the rough checklist of, to help council with direction on choosing these streets. There's also some quotes on some soft cost, design costs that we'll cover in the presentation too, to give you an idea of what it entails when we start to see these streets that have ADA amenities that need to be upgraded along with the paved surfaces. Only get 3 minutes?
Yeah, in 3 minutes.
I could speed run it.
Reset this up so the screens are set up. Well, we'll do it that way. I can't see it.
Yeah, that's fine.
That looks good, Mike.
Yeah, so the whole purpose of this is kind of a rough guidance and an overview of available funds, projected funds, and possible use cases for that. So just this first slide is just provide a high-level overview of the major DD funds and then offer guiding suggestions for selecting street projects. And this is not by any means the final list, right? And we're going to come back, we're going to bring this list back with council input at another meeting and use that as a guiding document for our future budgeting. So just background on it, what we're using is the voter-approved 0.75% tax. It went into effect April 1st, 2025. It's collected and distributed with existing sales tax, and the revenue forecast may vary based on, spending for the residents in town. Usually what we see is a higher amount during the month of December for Christmas purposes. The projected annual revenue, which I think in the study was projected at 1.6 million, and we're projecting a usable revenue of 1.2 because of the quarterly disbursements of that money. And then the time they fall. So far, as of now, as of December, we haven't got, as of December, that doesn't actually include the month of December, right? So as of December 2025, we have $365,606.70 from our major DD money. And then we're looking at supporting pavement rehabilitation and ADA compliance in these places where we're going to redo the pavement. So project selection, what we have is a good guiding document. I put it in your guys' packet. It's called the PTAP, right? It's the pavement report that we do every 2 years for the city. And with this DD money, we really need to set up kind of a programmatic approach. What maintenance items are we going to do? What full construction items are we going to do? And why are we doing those items, right? So street conditions vary quite a bit. And then we have to take into account, like you keep saying, the ADA curb ramps, upgrades, things that can be triggered, other mandatory triggering items when we choose streets to be repaved. For the best outcome, we're going to combine that with, already in place projects to prevent and to protect the good streets. So, I'm on this slide right now, Mike. Guiding suggestions on how to do streets, project readiness and delivery. We already have a few projects that are, we're funding pay-as-you-go projects. Those are good projects to receive DD money to kind of fill in the gap of years. Some projects we work on every other year, or we'll skip a year to save up funds to do it. And then, so this could fill that gap to make that project be a continuous, project. We need to consider ADA ramp requirements. That's a big thing for City of Cloverdale. We have a lot of corners that, don't have ramps, don't have, full ADA access and all the engineering and planning that comes with it. public benefit and visibility, that's a large determining factor, what the people want, what people are going to see when they come into town first, the high traffic areas, you know, streets that are dilapidating, that are surrounded by brand new streets, you know, filling in those gaps. And long-term cost effectiveness, right? We don't want to neglect street maintenance projects to do complete pavement projects, because then we'll end up, the maintenance projects we skipped will have to become full projects. Okay, next slide. So the delivery method, largely governed by the California Cost Accounting Code, CUCCAC. And I've been over this with multiple people multiple times about, you know, in-house work, force account stuff. So it really boils down to city staff and city projects. We're kind of limited by that $75,000 mark. That'd be what you call the force account work. Anything beyond that, up to $220,000, we're going to do an informal bid. And then anything above $220,000, we're doing a formal bid process. So those are kind of the guidelines. And then to get into these, it doesn't happen very often, but sometimes we will have to split projects up, but we can't split them up for the intent of meeting a lower bid requirement, right? We have to show that we're splitting the project up because it needs to be split up for other purposes, not just to meet a bidding requirement. Okay, next slide. All right, so some possible already listed projects. We have what we call the SB1 Local Streets and Roads Funding. So Jefferson Street was on that list. It was slated for, I think, in the 2030 era, because it's a small amount of money we get. And so we have to project those projects out quite long. So Jefferson Street has came up multiple times, and council has shown interest in making sure that that street gets repaved. Clark Avenue is the current SB1 list fund recipient street, and we're doing a full water, sewer, pavement, storm, everything. And it's going to be from south to, I think, Blair or Alter. It could be back to Alter, but so there. And then we have First Street, which is the section between Cloverdale Boulevard and Main. It's kind of a poor section of street that wore very, very poorly. So that probably needs to be ground out. We have some preliminary work done on that, and that's kind of a key arterial in the city. It gets a lot of use. It does get a lot of heavy foot traffic with the amount of events we have here, and it would be nice to smooth that up again. So that being said, Major DD can help fund these gaps, or they can expand these projects. You know, that when we get a paving project and we're going to go into a neighborhood, and if we lengthen that project, you know, using DD money as opposed to trying to wait longer and use SB1 money or other grant funded monies. So just next slide. So this was, I wanted to include this just for everyone to get an idea. This is a section of road. It was a Tarman Drive between Brookside and Hillview. It's one of the poorer streets in town. Its connection to Rosewood too is really bad. But this is a good example because it includes 4 ADA ramps, and it's only about 450 feet long. So that gives you an idea of the soft costs we'd be looking at that comes with these paving projects. Even if it's just a grind and an overlay, we still have quite a few front end costs to bring it up and for these ADA requirements. So I just wanted to give everyone kind of that yardstick to measure off of when deciding streets and funds and what we can do. It's not super large cost, but it is a significant amount of the monies that we do receive.
What's that number?
Mike, do you mind moving that?
59,390. 59,390. As we do with other streets and roads, SB1, Go Sonoma money, and Measure M money, we do public information. You know, we take into account what community posts, what people want, and polls, and we do local engagement, and then we try to provide as much transparency as the project we're working on. And we will be copying all of those standards for this DD money. Even though it's not mandated, it's a best practice for us. So in your packet, you have the Measure DD sign layout. Our Bobby Spagnola, our engineering tech, did a great job. He designed these. And so he's given you 3 options to look at. And these are the signs we're planning, or we're going to have them produced, kind of like we do with Measure M signs, and then we'll have
Next slide, Mike.
Oh, I'm sorry. One more slide. We'll have these out at the job site where that Measure DD funds are being located. That way the community knows where it's being spent, what it's doing. And he did a great job designing these. So if you just at council's direction, give us some feedback, and we can choose which one you guys like. Next slide. So the steps from here, we are requesting council direction on providing a streets and projects list. I want you to, take in the guiding document information and all that, and kind of decide where you want us to point us to start. It's streets and projects I put in there because, if it's a sidewalk project we need to do before a street, or any other pressing projects we need to do. We'll develop that list, match it with Measure DD funds. We'll return to a council meeting, and then we'll use this guiding document to set our budget for the 26, 27, and 27, 28 fiscal years, which we're on a fiscal year budget now. So, and then in the back, I just put the reference documentation that I included in the packet. The PTAP report's always good to look at, that Tarman plan. The project list is also in there for the design. And then the California Uniform Cost Accounting Code is in there. It's a dense read, and I can give you the highlights if you want. So that's it. So if council wants to kind of, come up with some, you don't have to provide us with a list tonight. Just take this guiding document and employ it in your future decision for creating that list. And then once that's provided to us, then we can kind of critique it and give ideas of projected stages of to get all these done. And we can come back to council and see if you guys like that timeline and the prices for things. Questions?
Any questions? Go ahead.
Thank you, Derek. I really appreciate meeting with you, talking about this extensively. I think you're doing a great job at leading everything, and things look like they're falling in just a great place. One of the things I'm just kind of thinking about to consider is that we have sort of a projected phase, and there might be some things that are next up in line is sort of if we can have a second tier of operations that people can maybe expect that once these things are done, they see that they're next up in line.
We're hoping to with this document. It would be kind of a multi-year large project list, kind of like our projected CIP list. Because we do a 2-year budget, so we need to kind of be beyond that 2-year budget for sure.
And that's where the street project list would.
Yeah.
So yeah, people see that if they're not in that phase, they'll be in the next phase. And but things look great. I do like the Measure DD local tax dollars improving our community sign as my choice for the sign. So I would select that one.
Go ahead.
I wanted to thank you for putting together this presentation, and I know the people of Cloverdale will be very happy once we start really working on the streets.
So with all that being said, Derek, I know a lot of people have come forward and, me first, but I think we have to extrapolate back just from beyond the paving. If the sidewalks and or the curb and gutter are in disrepair, and then they're in disrepair because of the trees, well, I mean, we have to look at all of that. So, I mean,
Yes.
I saw your first slide for, $60,000, but it didn't include any of, beyond the paving, right?
Well,
So we need-
that $60,000, that's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
for engineering costs.
Yeah, right.
Right, soft drawings. That's not project cost. So that would include, I think it's multiple ADA ramps, drawings, curb gutter.
But like I say, in some of the neighborhoods, the sidewalk being pushed up by the trees, and even those roads are, horrible. We have to start somewhere in California law. We know that the sidewalks don't belong to the city. So in a lot of neighborhoods, those sidewalks are in disrepair. So it's a kind of a unknown battle behind the scenes on why my street's not getting paved because your sidewalks.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
not up
that
to code.
could be a council decision if you guys choose to do a larger project, like we are doing the Clark Avenue project, right? And with a full reconstruct, it does include 88 ramps at the corner and sidewalks and things of that sort. So when you tend to do these large, full reconstructs, the sidewalks
And then
are
if
included in
we
it.
have an ordinance that says, a tree beyond 12 inches can't be cut down, we might have to revisit that because a lot of the trees are 30, 40 years old and their diameters are already pushing up sidewalks.
Yeah, and I think we can kind of get to that with some resident outreach, right? If you have a neighborhood where it's the trees are a nuisance to the resident and they're a nuisance to the city right away, there could be some common ground there.
So yeah, I'm just thinking out loud, everything else beyond just, I want my street paved, right? Thank
We
you.
always try to build in that contingency.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation.
Yeah.
So Measure DD came around basically because we never had any money to pay for repaving and maintenance. It was, what was it, under 300,000, I'll just use a good round number. It was under 300,000 per year that we actually had to spend. I know it was a lot less than that, but I'll just use that as our number. This gets us into the 1.4 range, 1.2 to 1.6, I'll say 1.4. But we have to remember that this was also put on your taxpayers, so they're going to want more than First Street redone again. Because you look at Rosewood, it was paved in 1964. It is literally crumbled down to dirt. And I would hate to play a video in one of our meetings of the person that can't hold her cell phone as she's trying to drive down the road at 7 miles an hour. And so we have to really look at, I understand the maintenance portion of it. I understand updating ADA, but we have to look at how are we going to affect the people that have waited and have destroyed their own vehicles and their own property trying to get into these places. And I know you're not going to say it because I know where you live, but I'm looking at my list of things that I've sold this on because I was the one that went door to door. I'm the one that went to every meeting, and I'm the one that said, we will do our damnedest to give you what is necessary to make your lives better. And it can't be repaving only First Street or Jefferson's awesome. That's on my list as well. But we have to focus on more than that. We have to look at the worst of the worst, even if it is just the grinding and repaving. Even if it is the lipstick on the pig, it's better than what they're dealing with. Another thing that we talked about when we first knew DD was going to pass is we brought in a financial advisor and said, is this something that we can loan against the money and save money in the long term by doing like a 5-year plan, hiring the company, and your savings would be bigger from the percentage that you pay on the loan versus the CPI. And I think that we should revisit that with some interest rates going down to see how close it is, because it was really close at that point. And so they've gone down a little bit lower. So I think that we should actually revisit that a little bit to see if a loan against DD, even if it is a 5%, your CPI is going to go up more than that over the next 10 years.
Yeah, I
We
think our
should look into that
CPI
kind
went
of thing.
down a little bit.
So it's something to think about because it was going up pretty drastically, but I'm not the smart guy with that. So that's why you bring in somebody to say, hey, here's what it would cost you and see if it would work. So we could do multiple projects. And then your contractor would know that he has, let's say 7 roads, and he'll do them for 20% cheaper when he has 7 versus 1, because you're not mobilizing and demobilizing and things along those lines. You use their engineers. I looked at this engineering report for the soft cost. I'm going to be very nice and just keep quiet, because this gave us a $60,000 price tag for them to design 4 ramps to come off of your sidewalk. No geotech, no right-of-way survey, no design assistance during this, no lid designs, nothing. So it gives you nothing other than 4 drawings on a piece of paper and a topo map that I can get for free. So I'm very disappointed in what they're offering, and I know that there's a lot of companies around here that would do a lot more, especially if they had a bigger project scope that they were looking at.
Yeah, it's the little piecemeal projects that are cost effective. The PTAP report does lay out some good large chunks of multi-year projects. I think the last one was like a $36 million like all-in project, right? Which is not feasible for us, but it does lay out multi-year projects. And I think that $36 million project was over 5 years. So we could kind of take what they're trying to do there and scale that down.
Absolutely. And I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Mayor, is that okay? I think the one thing the PTAP misses, which is great. I love that report. I love that we did it. It's phenomenal for what we're going through. We should have the knock your teeth out report as you drive down the streets and see which ones knock your teeth out faster. Because, Jefferson, Hale, School Street, these things, you cannot go over 5 miles an hour without losing control of your vehicle.
Yeah.
So we really need to consider that when we're looking into these.
Derek, thank you very much, and all great comments. I'm kind of on the same thing, and I've been preaching this the whole time. Granted, I've only been in Cloverdale for 8 years, but North Jefferson has been mentioned to me. I don't know how many times people have told me it's all over, social media. Yes, that's one I think as one I'd like to highlight. It's highly traveled, but also like everybody's saying, there's a lot of roads here, and I agree with that analogy of the vice mayor here is let's do a knock your teeth out report. There's some roads in this town that just need it. You know what I mean? And I guess I would like to see it. I'm also very disappointed when I see that. I mean, when it comes to those engineering reports, are we looking at that cost for every project we bring on, every street if it needs 88? I mean,
no, the larger
that's
the
eating a lot
project we get a better bang for our buck,
Yeah. Okay. And there's no way to mitigate or figure out how we can do that at a cheaper cost to stretch
We're always
these-
trying.
Oh, yeah, I know you are.
I'm
All right,
trying.
thank you. I agree you are. Also, how long, if we do put stuff out to bid, how long, what's the time frame for the bids?
We bid it out for 30 days, then we do
30
an
days?
opening.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I
Unless
guess
we
where
get-
I'm going with this all building up is, the people at Cloverdale are chomping at the bit, and everybody wants their street done, but we all know which ones really need to be done, and what are we looking at for a possible start date on some stuff,
I mean, we would have to identify the projects first.
Right. Once we give you the list, or we come up with a list of ones we want to go to, what's the time where they're grinding and pouring and doing all that good stuff? I mean,
Probably summer of 27 for smaller projects.
Okay.
Because we're looking at baking it into the budget in 26 of June.
Okay.
Right? You guys passing it in July. And then we're, foot on the skinny pedal with engineering design and the list you give us all the way up until the summer of 27 where they can break ground.
okay.
Feasible.
I'm just thinking is everybody sitting up here is going to be, I know we've all been asked these questions. As long as I got something to give people and light at the end of the tunnel is what I'm looking for. So
And it all depends on the severity of the project. Like if you guys were to say you wanted to do a full reconstruct like on a street in Tarman, as we're learning in Clark, with the aging underground infrastructure and what it's made out of, it just is just a time-consuming process to mitigate all of that. Full water, sewer, storm, all that. So those take an incredible amount of time. Grind and overlay, they can be more expedited.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Great presentation, man.
And so what?
Yeah, he needs some direction here.
Oh,
Yeah, I would like to write
Mayor,
so we can get them going.
I'd like to, hey, Mayor, if you don't mind, Measure DD was also for parks and public safety. So we could have a discussion that we want to dedicate, 80 or 90% to roads for the first few years. Then we could try to quantify what that would be, and then we could come back with a scenario that we can look into the loan. Just hypothetically, if we got a loan for $5 million, that's based on nothing, but then we can get many projects done with economy of scale that Derek described, and then just determine how much, say, 80% of DD, like what kind of loan servicing that would accommodate. So we could do a little more research. I don't know, I just wanted to mention that it was for parks and public safety. Not to say you have to do that, but I think a majority of it should go to roads, obviously, but I don't know, Alex, you want to say something?
No, I was going to say, if the council wants to go, exploring, capital financing a larger amount, like that doesn't preclude, that will take a little bit of time. That doesn't preclude you spending, the first year's money now while you work on gathering that information for the other years down the road as well.
Just add the comment, there was numbers that came up regarding a possible loan, and I do like the number of 5 years. I think that's not too far ahead, and that's something I would like to also support being explored.
I just want to comment before we wrap up this subject on one street that really, really needs help. And the reason it needs fixing is it's Triplet. And I know when we have floods, then the main entrance to Kings Valley Senior Apartments gets barricaded off. And people have to go down Triplet. And there's a lot of seniors that live at Kings Valley that say don't have cars, but they do have walkers. And it's really hard for them to get a walker down Triplet.
Okay. Further discussion, yeah. Any other comments? Mark?
How do you want us to direct to make the list? He says staff or council, so we're looking for I'm wondering how you want us to direct.
I heard, Councilmember Marquez, did you say a 5-year term would be what you?
I certainly think that the number of 5 years for me sounds good. I think that makes a lot of sense. I generally was leaning against sort of getting into a long-term debt if it was something that was going to be beyond 7. I think 5 years is really a good amount of time, that if that works out financially, that we're going to overall get a better deal. I would certainly lean into that. And on the other subject, as far as the split between safety and parks and streets, I think, from the residents, streets seems to be kind of at the top of that priority. Talking to our park superintendent as well, there's some funding that might run out in 3 years, so maybe things are a little better now. I certainly don't want to neglect safety either, but I think streets seem to be at the top of the list there too. So,
yep. Any other comments?
Yeah, so something to think about. The financial advisor knows what he's doing with this, and when we had the discussion last time, it was broke down into different years and different percentages. So I think that we're getting ahead of ourselves by trying to choose a time frame versus say, let's see what they have to offer right now, because 5, 10, 15, 30, it might not make a difference because the percentage is not worth the money. So we should just really do the check-in. If we use the company that we used already, that we already paid for, they can probably just update with the percentages. It'll take them an hour and send it to us. It'd be a very simple document for them to do, and I'm sure he's willing to do it.
Yep.
Well, if we took 80% of the revenue and figured out how much debt service that could service over certain periods of time and what the rate is, and try to break it down a little bit so we can bring that back. I just say 80, I mean, it could be 90, and then we could leave some for public safety and parks if that's the direction.
Yep. Let's go ahead and I'd say with the comments and all, let's go ahead and explore that. And I know if we're talking the same gentleman that came up with our bonds before, I think he's outstanding, and he'd be worth getting in touch with again and see how this plays out. But yeah, it's worth running by him. So,
and maybe also we could have a pay-go, a little more detail on a pay-go scenario.
They did that in the first breakdown. I don't know if you saw it or were part of that. I think David was on that one. However, it's a good document. He's a highly intelligent advisor and is not afraid to give you the breakdowns, the payo, and what he would expect. And when we did it, he also wrote it up for where you could pay off early with no penalty. So there was lots of ideas that were thrown around that were premature on that part, but it's something to explore. So my question to you again is, Mayor, how do you want us to handle this regarding a list of streets or projects? Do you want to do that or wait until we hear other information?
I think we should, we should bring it up for a future and put it on the agenda. And have this, we can have discussions then and figure out, and with all 5 of us here, and we can figure out exactly what roads we want to do, and we can present that to Derek. And also explore the, like we've had comments on maybe long-term loan, and we can get some more projects done, more bang for our buck. Also, is there any public comments on this? Rob? Oh, sorry.
Oh. Is it on? Oh,
It
yes,
is. Please state your name for the record,
My name's
please.
Annabelle Burke.
Okay.
And I live in Cloverdale.
Okay.
When you were talking about the streets, the first street that came to mind was Triplet. And I thought of it, as I don't go down there, I walk around a lot and I don't walk on that street at night. And so I thought of the word of the street, triplet. So I thought that was funny.
Thank you.
Rob Kozlowski, I live here in Cloverdale. And one thing I'm a little bit disappointed in was we've known about the need for this list for a long time. In fact, it was Todd who convinced me to vote for the sales tax back when I was a little bit reticent about more taxes. But as the money comes in, I would have expected tonight to see a more comprehensive list from the city about what's being done for people that have had crumbling roads. Also, what I am happy about was the city's moved forward with an oversight committee on DD, the sales tax revenues and whatnot. So that's really good. What I'm disappointed in is talk about, loans to fund this versus pay as you go. We went through this with the water sewer situation, and we ended up with a multi-million-dollar loan. We haven't seen what the interest payments have been to date and what that's doing. And that sacrifices capital money by paying interest, sacrifice capital money for projects in water and sewer. In fact, the loan was used to pay for solar panels, for HVAC systems and stuff like that, not for the water and sewer projects. So I'm very leery when I hear it might be going down this second approach to get loans versus pay as you go, because you're now getting the money. We don't have a list, and now we're talking about potential for loans. That doesn't seem like the way to go. Doesn't seem like sacrificing money coming in by paying interest on a loan. So let's pay as you go. That would be my take. Also, from a bigger picture point of view, I understand the roads are important, but one of the things that was talked about from the city council and the residents when we had the town hall meetings on tax increases was a good split between roads, and I'm glad Kevin brought it up, parks and public safety. So in my mind, I was thinking maybe 1/3, 1/2, 1/3 kind of mixes for the 3 different areas. So we don't want to forget that. And in terms of a road list, it dawned on me with is Chief Parker still here, that we could get also based on safety coverage vis-a-vis police accident reports. Are there certain areas where we might need road fixes or lights or more stop signs where there's a high incidence of traffic reports? So I think the police can be a key part of this list. And I guess that's it. So again, thanks for the oversight, and I really applaud your efforts, and let's get this list done because we've had this tax coming in now for almost a year. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Yeah.
So we can work on a preliminary list and give you a couple of options of the kind of the highlighted streets and some of the worst streets. And then some of the streets that have made it on lists before, and then continuous projects within a certain radius of that give us that cost effectiveness. So we can kind of work on preliminary lists and circulate that to the council for you guys to look at, and then you can come back with a more critiqued list.
Are we going to do what our engineer Vanessa suggested, which is fix some of the not-so-bad streets first so that we save them so that they're not going to end up being really bad to kind of save us money before we go after the really bad streets?
I guess that would all depend on the council's critiquing process and the list and how much funds are devoted to it. But we do have a maintenance aspect that we do need to take care of, but it's not going to be a sole maintenance endeavor.
Yeah, the PTAP report, we've been going over that in subcommittees for a year and a half now. So that's our guiding document right there. But there's also the concern of the taxpayers coming in and saying, hey, we got DD money coming in. Yes, we understand the PTAP report, but this has been mentioned for the last 25 years. And it may not be the worst road, but it's something that needs to be done. It's a high profile, high traveled road. So, yeah. Which is where the list is you're looking for us right here, kind of combining, correct?
Yeah, and the list will help the council identify kind of pitfalls where if it's a pay-as-you-go, it's going to be this continuous project. You want to avoid saying, we're going to do 3 miles of this road, and we're going to pay this much a year, and it's going to take 10 years to see a result. You're going to identify those types of pitfalls. You're going to be able to make stopping points where you can get the best bang for your buck and things like that, where it's not you do a large project that's going to be multi-year before you see results.
Yeah. Right. Any other comments?
Yeah, economy of scale is a big thing. It really is, especially in construction. Mobilization costs, engineering costs, they're going to quadruple, triple at least if you do it road by road with an RFI on every one of these and a new person coming in every time. It's going to cost you so much more money as a pay-as-you-go. You can look at CPI, you can look at the soft costs, you can look at the mobilization and demobilization, you can look at the engineering fees. All of this will go drastically higher if we do it pay-as-you-go. So that is why you have to have the financial advisor show you the numbers and say, do you save or do you not save? And if you do save, it's a smarter path. If you don't save, it's not. The general contractors, the developers, you talk to like Wright Contracting, those guys will break this down. They'll say, here's what it costs to come in, here's what it costs to leave, and here's what we're going to charge you for a 100-foot street. They'll also say, here's where you save if you do 1,000 feet of street versus 100 feet. They will break it down any day for you because they know that that's how they get their contracts. And also make no mistake, Mr. Kozlowski, we all have lists. We're just not presenting them and fighting about them and scratching each other's eyes out tonight.
Also on the pay-as-you-go versus loans, I don't disagree with economies of scale. However, one thing to keep in mind is
I do think there is a good balance to strike between, getting into debt and also making sure that we can benefit from the economies of scale. I think to add on with the preventative maintenance, if that's something, keeping under that $75,000 threshold, if we can even increase that and lean a little bit into the in-house work, I think there's a great sort of value there, especially preserving our roads. And when the residents see any road work getting done on their block, that's one way to kind of spread it around and get a lot of smiling faces.
Yeah, that's also involved in this list too, is that's why I wanted to identify that force account amount, because we are going to be able to peel off a certain amount of the maintenance style work that wouldn't be impacted on this DD budget.
And some of that preventative maintenance those are kind of some of the things that maybe we can get started on a little sooner than some of the big projects that might be pushed off if we lean into preventative maintenance.
The guys they're out there trying to stay ahead of it. It's just, it's hard to stay ahead of. We got a limited staff, but they're doing a great job trying to get to it. But we're going to kind of ramp up some of this more force account work.
Okay.
Thank you, Derek. Appreciate it. Great presentation. All right, let's move on to.
Just before we do, Todd,
Yes.
The comment was on the pay-as-you-go. Is it a success on what we've done with the pay-as-you-go for the water sewer loan that we took out? And that would be a good learning point, I think, to justify if we went forward. So, and I haven't seen the data on that. I sort of asked for it, but we don't have it.
Thank you, Rob. All right, we're going to move on to item H3, discussion of the city council retreat workshop options.
Thanks, Mayor, council members. At the December 15th council meeting, we were directed to bring back a couple of ideas for a retreat. We did consult with our Much More consulting firm, which is someone that we use for HR purposes, and they were able to give us a proposal for an all-day retreat, which they would interview each council member and have activities and a written report at the end. And that was $5,700 for that. Option 2 is Redwood Law could provide us a workshop. We can talk about what the scope of that would be. We are currently we're under our legal budget for this year, so that would just be paid from what's already budgeted. And so Alex might be able to speak a little bit more about what that scope would be, but those are a couple options, and we're just looking for some direction tonight.
Comments?
Yes, I'd like to make a comment. I was the one that requested this discussion at the last council meeting, and I had said that I really wanted to use Talia. She's from Praxis Human Systems, and we used her last time, and I think we all felt like it was a really good workshop, but our only comment was that last year, well, it wasn't last year, it was a couple of years ago, that that the city staff had been included and that we wanted to do another workshop in another year or so, but we did not want to include the city staff. So anyway, I am hoping that we can get an estimate from Talia. And to me, if we want to do like a legal workshop, to me, that would be like a separate thing. And, like this one would be more for working on communications and those kind of things. And that was, my thought and my desire of what a retreat would be like the one we had last time. So my thing is, if we want to do a legal thing, I would think it would be a different workshop and at a different time.
Okay. Well, my comments on this item, really the goal here is to increase coordination, maximize efficiency, and reduce conflict. I would like to choose a solution that has the buy-in of the full council. If an option works for my 4 fellow council members, I will be in support of that.
Mark?
You keep collecting those thoughts. I know we used Talia twice in the past, and as much as I liked her, it didn't seem to get the message across or aid us in any way. I don't know if it was because of the people that were involved or if it was just the tactics or how it was held. So with that being said, I think that a full retreat, it has to have full buy-in, and it usually doesn't change if the stripes on the people. So I think that a workshop is the best way to do this, because sometimes the hard conversations need to be had, and I think that we need to look at how we're going to be spending our money so that we can remain in the positive on our budgets and not be spending money that doesn't actually benefit us in the long run.
Yeah, I think the wording workshop versus retreat has a little, misnomer in there on the actual meaning. Like in the, when we do our call outs, Councilman Marquez and myself just went to the League of City, the workshops there, and what they present, and we've all been through the training, what they present there are great learning tools that we should bring back to council and put forth in our everyday usage of our time on the council. So I'm just kind of a little bit on the fence about spending money where we've already spent the money to send us to Sacramento to get the tools that we need for proper governance for the city. So that's kind of where I'm at.
All right, I'm the same, and I've been doing retreats and leadership things for years, including Talia's, and have never really seen, in my opinion, a real positive. You sit there for a day, you, for lack of better terms, you do kumbaya, and everybody's happy, and they leave, and like you said, it doesn't change anything right there. So I'm kind of opposed to going farther and spending money on that type of stuff when I don't think I am 100% on board. And and this is with some conversation too with folks on bringing in and just getting the down and dirty from a workshop, just a legal workshop to come in. People tell us for a day what's going on, and we would come up with the scope of that, and I think that's going to be a heck of a lot more beneficial and keep everybody on track, define roles, and clarify roles on things for people. And I think that that's where I'm headed. That's where I'd like to go with this also, combined with the rest of the comments here. So.
I'd like to make a comment. To me, this seems like a daisy chain, which I brought to our attorney's attention earlier in the day. And I think we really need to stop doing daisy chains and discussing items on the agenda with 3 people before we meet. I think it's against the Brown Act, and I think it's really detrimental to 5 people coming together and observing the Brown Act and acting legally.
What daisy chain are you talking about?
I'm talking about, I knew that you guys were going to do this even before it happened because Mike had talked to all of you, and you guys obviously talk to each other. I mean, you before used to talk to me, you used to talk to Mark Lasky, and I just think we really need to be really clear in the future that we're not knitting daisy chains. And I just think it's not okay, and I just want to call it out that this appears to me what's going on here.
Okay, but what happened, Mike, I've never spoken to Mike about this. I speak to Mike about everything, but none of this. So just to get that out there. And also, when I do speak, when I'm having conversations with people, I'm talking with our attorneys. I talk to the attorneys about that. These guys can form their own opinions. So that's where we're at.
I just know in the past,
Can
things,
I add a comment?
borderline not legal. So
For everyone here, I mean, the truth is there's a lot to be worked on.
Absolutely.
There's a lot to be worked on. That's just kind of what it is. If there's maybe a step that we can take that would maybe not be the giant commitment of maybe committing to one or the other, maybe there's a small step that would help us get in that direction. Because the truth is, there's a lot to be worked on. And, you can, if there's not an agreement that everyone agrees that, hey, let's try to understand one another a little more, or maybe waver a little bit and be open to one another just a little bit, we can come to a consensus for a direction. So I don't want to see things go the direction that they did at the last meeting. If there's a small step that maybe staff would recommend, part of the council training that we took last week in Cal Cities is it's also for relationships with our staff, and there is things that staff can help out with. So I'm kind of maybe going to reach out to our staff and see if there's a recommendation that you guys may have for us to maybe take a small step without the big commitment. And then maybe at least we can all get on the same page to find a solution, really to just, yes, again, increase our coordination, maximize efficiency, and reduce conflict. We don't have to all be friends, but we got to work together, and we got to communicate, and we got to collaborate. And that's really all I'm trying to get done with this. If we can get some help with staff, I'm throwing a call out. Appreciate it. Thank you.
I just want to make a quick clarification just so the council's aware of my role with the agenda. I communicate along with our city attorney, city manager, with the mayor. I communicate individually with all of you to provide factual, publicly available information or procedurally clarification or on agenda items. But I do not advocate, request, or suggest or attempt to influence how any of you vote to avoid serial meetings. I just want that to be clear on the record since my name was brought up. But if you've taken it in a different matter, please address that with me, because I'd like to make that clear that that is not my role and that's not my intention.
Yeah, and my problem, Andreas, thank you for the comments, I agree. But I think that ultimately we're giving direction to staff, and we do sit down and talk to the city manager, we talk to the city attorney, but ultimately that decision has to come back to be approved by the council.
Okay.
So no, hold on. That was my comment to going with different workshops or retreats. And I think that's where I was going with that, is if we have a sit down with and do the legal part of it. And I know you guys learned this in Sacramento, so did we, but we need to, whether part of that process and part of the mending and part of the working together, like you said, we don't have to be friends, but we do have to work together, is clarifying and absolutely defining roles in this council right here. That's it. And that's going to be done legally. That guards all of us. That guards every one of us sitting up here from having serial meeting or having, stepping out of place or whatever. That defines your roles and gives you parameters there to do. That is why my decision and my personal opinion right here, regardless of what the rest of council says, my personal opinion is I think that's the best route to go. Then everybody knows their role and everybody can start mending from there.
I'm not sure what you mean by role.
Role as in a council member, right back to legally going over our new
Governance manual.
governance manual. I was going to say, excuse me, I had guidance in my head. Governance manual, which everybody should have read. Have read. The council has approved it. I've looked at it. I hope everybody else has. That's part of being on council, so then you know. So then that helps everybody work together right there. So that's the legal part that I'm going for, and that comes from our attorneys, because I know people do talk to city attorneys and do this. If they come in and say, yes, this is it, here's your roles, here's your guidance, and this is implied, this is the governance manual, this is what you use coming up here, and you should know that by now. If not, then that's the problem, you know what I mean?
One of the things I'll mention, I may put this on a future agenda item, is to have a presentation on our governance manual. So this was adopted at our last meeting. I think, distribution of physical copies and maybe a presentation to the council, presentation to the public, because it is a new governance manual that I think was about from 2011, the previous. So, it wasn't something that was updated as it went along, and we made a big change. I did work with City Clerk Maloney quite extensively on our code of conduct. That was something that we did not have in our previous governance manual. It was something from the beginning of my tenure on this council that I wanted to have in place with repercussions, because we didn't have that in the past. And I saw sort of environment that a lot of people didn't want to get involved with. So I understand about code of conduct, and I think it's one of those things that we can do that outside of this retreat and learn that. As far as the retreat, I think that's really building on our interpersonal relationships. There certainly are things that a mayor can do to help facilitate their team. There's things that staff can also help with to sort of help us build relationships with one another. So those kind of things, if that could be done outside of this retreat, sure, then those things should be done. But what we need to do is sort of break down some of the walls that exist, some of the assumptions that folks have of one another. The ways that we communicate might be different, the ways that things that we want to accomplish, just like, having our goals be established. Like, what do we all want to work on? What can we work on together? That's where I'm really trying to get. So if there's a simple step that we can all agree on, I would definitely be in support of it.
Thank you. And also on the goals, thank you for bringing that up. Also, we are coming up on budget season. There's going to be a council goals in there. That's one of the main things.
Looking forward to it.
Any other comments?
I'm just going to stand by thinking the workshop with the legal is the best. Over the past few meetings, I've seen things that prove that we need to really understand legally what we can and can't do, what our roles are, and make sure that we are safe by law before we work on our personal relationships, because the nuts and bolts of this is you have to do your job before you have to be friends or get along. And there's a lot of missteps that this council has been making, and I really think that we need to bring in the bigger gun to put people in their place and educate them on how it is to be done and what you're supposed to do and what your roles are, what the code of conduct, just like you're going through. I think that's first and foremost, is understanding your role before you get into the rest of it. So that's why I said the workshop.
I think a lot of us have already learned, like legal rules that we're supposed to follow with the Brown Act. It's one thing to learn them, it's another thing to actually follow them, and I think that they're not always being followed, and that concerns me.
So do we have a consensus up here? We need to bring this to, do we need, yeah, and I will bring it out to the public after I'm done, but we need to come to a consensus. What do we want? I know some people want to retreat. We can sit up here and argue all night. I know two people, myself. I am going the legal route on that. I know the vice mayor is going the legal route on that. So I need people to jump in. We need a majority of this council to come up with a decision tonight. So.
I'm open.
Okay.
You know, I'm open. I'm
Whatever route.
Yeah, I'm not holding a hard line. I think whatever we can do to get a whole council buy-in and get a start, I'm all for it.
And the thing on this legal thing too is and I don't want people to think that we're going to have somebody come down here and we're going to sit there and listen and we're not going to get anything. There's going to be questions, and that's part of the building process right there for everybody to come in. If you have a question on, hey, you presume this is happening, then we can ask. We can ask our city attorney, our senior city attorney, to come down and say, okay, no, this, and it starts building where we're at. That's part of the building blocks right here to get us to all, like I said, we don't have to be friends, we do have to work together. And I want to make sure we're covered legally here, the council, all of us, before we start moving into stepping forward and building up off after that. So thank you.
I appreciate it. And I'm open, so I think discussion maybe between the other 4 council members, I'm willing to go along with whatever you guys want to do.
So workshop, or were you headed towards a workshop?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd be on board for a workshop.
Okay. There, council direction right there. Kevin, let's go ahead or I'd like to bring it out to any comments from the public on this? Apologize. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Annabelle Burke. I came here for the first time quite a few months ago, and I felt intimidated by the process that you're kind of going through right now. And I think of it as a representation of what our culture is going through, kind of divisive. And I kind of shocked by the process. I've been like when I've had.
Could you step up a little bit, please, to the microphone? Thank you.
Pull it down.
There you go.
Like that?
Thank you.
Okay. The kind of process that I'm used to is consensus decision-making, which I kind of surprised I brought it up today. But I really feel that that is a process that makes everyone listen to each other and slows things down. It takes any kind of aggression, speed, anger, it all kind of like levels out. And I don't know what the rules are that you are working with. I'm not familiar with them. I'm familiar with something called the Roberts Rules of something or other. And there was always someone there who had the job of pointing out when someone wasn't doing that. So it was sort of like someone really clear and smart and quick, and they could just, without any kind of judgment, say, hey, you're going the wrong direction here. And I have no idea what you're doing. It sort of was mentioned to me that it was a law that the state has decided that everybody has to do certain things and vote a certain way. And actually, it doesn't really work to me. It seems more kind of the way that you decide. Some people are still going to be upset afterwards. So I'd be interested in finding out what that is. You said you were going to show it to people, what those rules and laws and how you make decisions. You're going to, so that'd be interesting to me.
Okay.
And anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Seeing none. All right. So Kevin, on that one, the direction is going to be, let's go ahead and work towards that workshop, schedule it up, and we'll come up with a date on that.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you.
We just had a discussion, but we didn't have a vote, correct?
Do we need to have a vote on that? We had 4. Alex, do we need
It
to
was
bring?
just to provide
Just direction.
direction, so there's not a need for a formal vote. I think it was clear from the direction that there was a majority that supported that direction.
All right, let's move on to H4, future discussion on the flag policy. Kevin? Or Mike, sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you, Mayor. So this item was, as you can see in the agenda report, in 2023 and 2024, council adopted a city flag policy. And on June 25th of 2025, Councilmember Marquez requested an amendment to the city flag policy under future agenda items, and it was as followed. Request to display a commemorative pride flag at the location of the Cloverdale Regional Library flagpole between the time period of June 1st and June 30th. The mayor at the time requested the discussion item go to be agendized at the beginning of 2026 when we set the meeting dates for the year, which would be tonight. So tonight, what we're looking for is also relative direction from the council, not to go discuss the language exactly, but whether or not you want an item, if you want language to amend the policy on a future agenda for approval or not, or if you want to keep the language as is. So it's really up to the council kind of to deliberate, but not to necessarily discuss the specific language, but.
So if I may add, we'll just add that would be annually.
Yeah, so it would be amending the policy, and I can bring up the policy, or I can go into a little more detail what the policy currently states. But ultimately, in summary, we had our original flagpole at City Hall. City Council approved an additional flagpole, which became a commemorative flagpole, and our policy currently states that the flags on that pole was where pride flags and other commemorative flags would fly, and they wouldn't be flown anywhere else without the direct direction from the council. So basically, we'd be looking if you're interested in amending that policy to allow it to fly in other locations for it to be adopted at a future meeting.
Comments on the council? Councilman Maskey?
So I'm to understand that the agendized would be to amend the policy currently to have any other flag flown at alternate locations other than the commemorative flagpole?
Yeah, so, well, the suggestion from Councilmember Marquez, and you're welcome to speak more to it if you'd like, but was to have, I don't want to speak for you, but if there were community members that were interested in that.
This was brought forward as a community request that we are the only library in Sonoma County with a flagpole that doesn't fly the pride flag for Pride Month. The amendment to the flag policy would just be to have that pride flag flown at the Cloverdale Regional Library between June 1st and June 30th on an annual basis. So it would just be the amendment to add that.
So doesn't that flag fly at City Hall on the commemorative flagpole right now?
Correct.
This would be no change to City Hall. It's there's other flagpoles that are under the jurisdiction of our flag policy, so it's not an amendment for, I think, the Senior Center is also one of the locations, I believe, and City Hall, Senior Center, Library, and what is there another location?
No.
Under our flag, it's just those three. So just as far as like, so if we choose to, somebody wanted to request a commemorative flag at the Senior Center, then we'd have to make an amendment for that flag, for the dates, and, for the location. So this would only be an amendment to our flag policy just for this location, for this flag, for these dates.
Good.
And the policy currently states language, in essence, that it says, the policy establishes standards for the outdoor display of the United States flag, the California state flag, the commemorative flags at city facilities, including approved locations and time periods for commemorative flags. The policy provides that commemorative flags are displayed as an expression of the city council's official sentiments and may be authorized only by city council action. Under the current policy, commemorative flags are displayed on the designated commemorative flagpole in front of City Hall unless the city council expressly approves an alternative location. So with that said, the pride flag is identified in the policy as an approved commemorative flag for display during the month of June on the commemorative flagpole in front of City Hall. With the request that's being considered right now, it would be basically whether the council we're looking tonight, whether council wants to determine if they would like to revisit the flag policy and amend it to include that request, which we would put, if you're in favor of that, we'd put it on consent item at the next meeting for approval or denial, or you can provide alternative direction to staff tonight.
Councilmember Morrison, you got any comments?
I'm all in favor for amending it.
Okay.
How many flags currently fly at the library, and will the pole support another one?
I'm not sure. We can find that out, though.
That should be the first thing we check in to see if this is even a possibility, number one. We worked very hard on this flag policy when it came out. I don't think any of you guys were on the council at that time. I don't remember. Were you?
Oh, yes.
It was very, I don't know. It was nice in here. We had some good, heated conversations, which was a good thing. And we worked very hard together to purchase a commemorative flagpole. It is not just for one flag, it's for everything that we choose to put on there. And so if we do choose another location, we're going to have to do all commemorative flags. It can't be just one because we can't discriminate against the others at the same time. That is why we did the commemorative flagpole, so that the city controlled it. It was one location. A lot of the discussion around then was around the LGBTQ population, and they were very supportive of this, the way we had it, because it gave them their place to reflect like they wanted to, and that's why we even held the Pride celebration, the raising the flag on June 1st this past year. So everyone in the community worked hard making this flag policy the way it is, and I kind of like it the way it is. Obviously, I was part of the writing, so I like it. I like it the way it is, but I will follow suit with what you guys choose.
Just to add, I don't think it's fair to marginalize a community to say that they're just one decision represents a whole community. The amendment is, the flag policy was set up that if somebody, the community requests something, it would have to go through a council member. The community made a request. They didn't make 20 requests. They made one request. And I'm in support of that. So this isn't to put 20 flags somewhere. That's not what the request is. This is just for one flag at one location to amend it. It's also to keep in line with the rest of the county that every single other public library flies the pride flag that has a flagpole. And people might look at Cloverdale to say, why aren't we in support of that if we're not going to support it? Those are the questions that are going to come up.
Yep, they came up before, but remember, you will be discriminating against the others if you do just one flag. It has to be all of our commemorative flags. If we're going to be changing our policy, it is going to be fair and equal for all.
So I resent the fact that you're saying I'm going to discriminate. That's against our code of conduct that we just adopted. It's good that maybe know the code of conduct, know our roles, but let's stop accusing each other of stuff.
Okay, let's do a point of order here. We're not going to go for this anymore. Point of order.
Point of order is that a code of conduct was violated, and I'm pointing it out.
Okay. Now that I'm going to bring that up, let's do, I'll bring something up later on that code of conduct. All right, so any other votes on this? We're not going to do this again. Go ahead. Councilmember Lasky, what's your opinion on what's your vote on the?
I just want to make one more comment before I vote. So are we flying two flags, one on the city of commemorative and one at the library during the month of June?
That would be the request, yes.
That'd be the amendment?
That'd be the amendment.
Okay. Are you looking for me to?
Are you for the amendment, or how are you out with the flag policy now?
I'll be for the amendment.
Okay. All right. Okay. We're going to follow suit right there. And go ahead, Mike. Let's bring it to a future agenda for an amendment.
Sounds good. And then just for clarification, do you want it, just really quickly, do you want it on the consent calendar? Or do you want to be able to discuss the language and look at the policy and make amendments specific to it? Or do you want staff to do that and just go on the consent calendar since we've discussed it?
I'd like to put it on the consent calendar.
Can I clarify, is the direction for just the one flag or for all commemorative flags?
It is for all commemorative flags. I want that in there. If we have our commemorative flag list that we have approved right now, we must put every one of those is going to have to fly.
We'll bring suggested language for the consent calendar. I do think that Vice Mayor Land's suggestion to look at what that flag is, its capacity, is definitely important in the conversation. So we'll look at that and see if it's even possible.
Sounds good.
We'll come,
And also, can we get
hopefully next meeting.
If we have to fly 2 flags concurrently, can we get a cost for additional flags? What's the cost of procuring additional flags? Well, okay, yeah, but it still needs to be public comment, right? If we're spending money on an amendment, let's make it a public know that this is what we're doing, this is what it costs.
Yeah, the item will definitely have the fiscal amount that it would cost the city. But we'll look into the flag code too, because if they can only have two, there may be provisions. If you have to have the American flag and the state flag, that maybe you can't have another. So,
Thank you.
but we'll bring back for consideration on the consent.
Is there any comments from the public on this item? Come on down, Susie.
I'm Susie Cummings, and I have a question. Are there a certain number of flagpoles in Cloverdale that are under the control of the city, or like the library, or does that belong to the library? My question is, has anybody asked the library? Can't they just fly the flag if they want to, if it's their flagpole?
Susie, there's three flagpoles. There's one at the senior center under control of the city. There's the library under the control of the city, and then the one commemorative flagpole in front of here.
That was my question.
Yeah, and according to the flag policy that we have right now, after our last couple years of deliberation and talking and arguments and all that good stuff, we came to the conclusion that we wanted a flagpole to name that the commemorative flagpole, giving us our second flagpole in front of City Hall. So that is the flagpole, that is the commemorative flagpole. This is going to be an amendment because council does have to approve those where it's flown on city-controlled flagpoles. So the library, which is why Councilmember Marquez brought that up. Yes, that's
I understand.
To amend to bring to a future agenda.
So it sounds like you want to maybe do the same thing with that flagpole that you do with the commemorative flagpole outside of the city hall.
Correct, with the language in there, looking like we were discussing, is make sure the flagpole one can accommodate it.
Extend the flag policy to the library.
Correct.
Sounds simple.
And for clarification, the Cloverdale Library Building is a city-owned facility.
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
We have a joint
senior
power.
center is too.
Yep.
Correct. We have a joint power agreement with the county, so they run the facility from the interior, but we own and operate the exterior. So the flag, it does fall under our jurisdiction.
That makes sense. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Susie.
And to note, the request did come from our library director.
All right. Any other public comments on that? Any other comments on that? Okay, let's move on to H5, and that is going to be the update on Potter Valley project.
I'll kick it off before turning over to the Vice Mayor. As the council knows, at the council's direction, we did file previously a motion to intervene in comments on the Potter Valley application, the PG&E application to surrender their license of the Potter Valley facility. That at a high level, that touched on really 3 points or comments. That PG&E had really failed to meaningfully consult with many people, including the city of Cloverdale. That the application doesn't fully identify or study the full range of impacts, especially for, I guess is the accurate phrase, downstream communities like ourselves. And that they have left so much left in the application for further studies and further applications, such as mitigation of all of these impacts they're identifying. So that's what the city has filed in that proceeding for now, and of course that proceeding is still ongoing. So with that, I'll turn it over to the Vice Mayor.
So for the past 3 years, I've been working with the Potter Valley Project and all of our officials. I'll go through a kind of a quick rundown of some of the people that have been involved. Now that some of this is starting to come to light, I can give a little bit more information as to what we're doing. A lot of this has been kept quiet because the best defense is giving your defense your offense. And so you can't tell them what you're doing. You can't tell people that will push against you, whether it's from other environmental groups, your own people in your town or around you. You have to be very careful with what you say sometimes, because they will turn around and hurt you in the long run and be a detriment to the city. So I'll kind of give a quick overview. Like 3 years ago, our county supervisor came to Cloverdale and had a meeting with myself and the city manager and a couple others, and basically let us know that the Potter Valley dams, the one that makes Lake Pillsbury and is on the Eel River that diverts water into Lake Mendocino for our water supply, those dams are going to be decommissioned and torn down, and a new facility was going to be planned and built in their place. When we asked about water supply, the supervisor told us the days of you having your own lawns and gardens are over. And so for a community like us that thrives and basically just kind of survives off of our own gardens, that's a tough deal to take. And so we pushed forward and started asking questions. The city manager then, David Kelly, and I were working together. We were asking all the questions that we needed, and the supervisors kept coming back that basically it was a done deal. There's nothing we can do. We need to just be quiet and keep trying and trust them that the process is going forward. During that time, I worked with not only Supervisor Gore, I worked with Supervisor David Rabbit. The conversations behind the scenes were always different than what was behind the podium as to our security. And so knowing that we were going to be in a bad spot, but that wasn't something that we could bring to light completely, I looked to other people to help us, since the supervisors weren't quite as willing as I would hope. So I turned to Sonoma Water, who is the agency that is creating what they call the IRPA. And with IRPA and Sonoma Water, they were using the same talking points. They said the dams are unsafe, and this is just what it is, and we need to move forward. It's a done deal. As I discussed things with Sonoma Water, we brought in Congressman Huffman, and Congressman Huffman had a roundtable with us and found out that he was basically the one that was spearheading this, and it was okay. But Sonoma Water let him know that Cloverdale was going to be in a bad spot, that we were going to be short on water with his design that he was pushing forward. So that congressman decided that he was just going to start calling us conspiracy theorists, say we spread misinformation, things along those lines. And the hardest thing for him in his life, and it kept him up at night, was knowing that those dams could possibly fail someday. And so when I asked for the seismic reports, they told us that we couldn't have them because they were a federally protected document. So with PRAs and FOIAs, the Freedom of Information Act and the Public Records Act, I ended up getting the seismic reports, and they showed that the dams were safe, up to an 850-year event. So with that being said, PG&E no longer said that the dams were unsafe. Congressman Huffman quit talking about them, and the whole talking points and idea has changed now. It revolves around fish and environment. So Congressman Huffman isn't willing to help. Our local supervisors aren't willing to help, so we started going to the state officials. Senator McGuire, Chris Rogers, Jim Wood, Damon Connolly. They weren't too helpful. They would tell you they would do things, and then nothing would happen. So I used some people that I know and had them pull some strings, and we met with the governor. And the governor said, you should meet with the head of Department of Fish and Wildlife because he's the number one in charge of this. His name was Chuck Bonham. And this is the information that we've been keeping close and confidential because this is the stuff that you can't let out because it's just going to burn you in the long run. So now that we're at a higher point, it's okay to come out. So Chuck Bonham would actually come to Cloverdale about once a month and meet with a few of us. And we would go over ideas, plans, water storage, different reservoir ideas, different things that we can do for Cloverdale. His first conversations were trying to do the same talking points that everyone else used, that this is a done deal, and that he understood that we were going to be in a bad spot, and he wanted to help us with water storage, which was great. The second time he came, he wanted to debate about why we needed it. He said, our information was wrong. And so we gave him our facts and pled our case. And the next time he came, he said, okay, I agree with you guys. What do you want? And the first thing that we wanted was a letter from him and Sonoma Water stating that we're right, because you can't go back on that. And so the head of Fish and Wildlife and the head of Sonoma Water wrote us a letter saying they're going to do everything they can to work with Cloverdale. And so at that point, Chuck Bonham said, what do you need? And so we had a list of water projects that would make Cloverdale solvent with water, and we provided it to him. The list was approximately $1 billion. And he said, this is a little too much. And we said, well, no kidding, but you asked what makes us solvent. So he took that list, asked us what we thought our priority projects would be, so that he could start looking into ways to get some type of funding and grants and things that he could start looking into to start compiling some money towards water projects. We discussed different storage options, aquifer recharge, all of this. And then I think it was the fifth time he came to Cloverdale, we were talking about a couple projects that we had in mind. And I asked him about the reservoir money from a 2014 bond that California had. It's a 7-point-something billion bond that we all paid for to create new reservoirs in California. No reservoirs have been built in California, and Chuck Bonham says there is no money. We spent it. So I said, well, is there any money for anything that we can do here? And he said, I don't know. We're going to have to look into it. We're going to have to try to find some money. There's no money for these projects. When I got out of that meeting, I left and I went to Ukiah to the IRPA meeting, and he gave $18 million to IRPA in that meeting. So I knew where we stood as Cloverdale and what we were going to get out of our state. At that point, I turned to social media, and I started making it known a little bit about where we were and being a little bit more vocal. And I caught the ear of some people through the federal government. And they said, you know what? We see that you've had some troubles. Maybe we can help you. And so they wanted to know more about it. These people, I'll go down the list of a few of them. Aubrey Betancourt, she's the chief of the NRCS. It's the National Resource Conservation Service. It's very high in our federal government. Secretary Brooke Rollins, the head of the USDA, the Department of Agriculture, she was part of my conversations, and we had meetings, lots of Zoom meetings. Congressman Doug LaMalfa, he actually had great meetings with him before he passed recently, unfortunately. Unexpected. There's another one that we talk about tonight. Congressman LaMalfa was very helpful, knowing that this was going to affect agriculture and ranching drastically in our area, along with our water supply. He wasn't even our congressman, and he was still willing to help out on this. And the last conversation we had, he said that he had a bill prepared to go to the Congress floor when we had the decisions finalized of how we were going to handle this. Congressman Mike Thompson is another one. He's out of Lake County. This is part of his district, but we aren't. But he still wrote letters and was on our side and helping us in any way he could. Tate Bennett, she's the head of the American First Policy Institute. it's a very high group that they pull a lot of their secretaries and people under your federal government. Then when they bring in all their different secretaries and everybody needs help, that's where they come from. Going down my list. The next meeting I had was with the Department of Interior. They're the Director of Oversight for everything that goes on in our federal government. It has like James Comer, Katie Wolf, and these people. Everything that you see when they have the congressional hearings and they do all of that you see on TV, on your news channels, they're the ones that bring the things to the floor when they see that there are some wrongs being had, when things are being done for the wrong reasons and taking away the rights of people. That was their plan, or is their plan moving forward on some of this. They're still talking about wanting to have a congressional hearing regarding the water and taking it away from people like us. Going through this list, as you can see, I've reached out to just about every single person that there is. I've worked with several PG&E reps. We have a lot going on with this right now through PG&E. There's a lot that I can't tell you about what's going on, so I'm going to kind of go a little bit more with the federal government. I have a lot going on behind the scenes. Secretary Rollins invited me to Anaheim 2 weeks ago to go meet with her personally. I flew down to Anaheim. I had the meeting with her. We did a full roundtable with a couple other people involved in this, which included a lot of Lake and Mendocino County supervisors and myself. And then, and along with Brooke Rollins, Aubrey Betancourt, Tate Bennett, they were all there. And when we were done, we did a full press release and press conference. There was about 30 news agencies. They asked all the questions like you see on TV with all of your federal government, and I was on stage with her while we did this. Questions were asked and answered. We've done a lot of interviews and podcasts and things along those lines since that point. It's about a 6-hour day right now trying to keep up with just those interviews. Things going on with PG&E, I have to keep it very confidential because they don't want to know what the conversations that we're having, but I can say this. Patty Poppy, who is the CEO of PG&E, went to the California Farm Bureau Association conference and stated that they were willing to work with anybody regarding these dams. And so with that said, there are some private parties that have come into play that want to have something to do with these dams and have made themselves known. So that's another option that is out there right now. The tribal members that I've been working with, I can't tell you who they are because they will get in trouble with their tribes. And it's several tribes in our area. It is not just the Round Valley. There's a big group of people from Lake Mendocino counties and Humboldt County that are also helping in this cause. As of right now, we're in about the best seat that we could be. Everyone is willing to work together and negotiate to do what they can to provide enough water for Cloverdale and the lower part of the river until you get to Dry Creek to make sure that we're solvent. Under the new diversion plan, if you look at it and read it, it does not provide enough water to refill Lake Mendocino at any time. Currently, Lake Mendocino is at 95% full, and we've had over 140% of our average rainfall. So with the current diversion, it won't fill completely when necessary. The new diversion diverts less, and it only diverts during seasonal times. It will not have water being diverted during the summer when you need it. I went to the biological opinion done by Sonoma County. The biological opinion only focused from Dry Creek down into the ocean. It never went above Dry Creek, so our section of the river was not part of their biological opinion. I don't know if that says anything, but it does to me. And so I'm going to be looking into that further. So under the new diversion, it's called the two-basin solution. If you don't understand it, I'll kind of give you a quick rundown. The Round Valley Indian Tribe and this new group called IRPA, they created a chart and matrix of when you could draw water and divert it into Lake Mendocino out of the Eel River. The times are changed, and the amounts of water that are in the Eel before you can divert are different per month. But what it does is the first time it floods in the river, the floods are measured by a certain cubic feet per second. The first set of that is called a flushing, and it's the flushing of the river, and it clears out all the bad contaminants, everything in it. You can't divert water during that time. You're not allowed to. So you have to wait for your second major storm. It puts you into a flood stage, and then you can divert 20% of the overages once you go over into the diversion numbers. And if that doesn't make sense, I'm sorry. But like if you were at, you say 300 cubic feet per second, you couldn't draw anything until you hit 20% above that, and then you can only take 20% of what it offers to you. So you have to hit, like, I think it's 364 CFS before you actually start drawing on a 300 CFS matrix. The water continues to go less, but the diversion goes less. And so you will not be diverting water if you're not having these floods. So if you look at what we just did, you look at 25, 26, we've had one rainstorm. It put us at 140% of our water average rainfall. We would not have been able to draw water off of that. So we have to wait for our next rainstorm. So as of now, we still haven't drawn any water out of the eel if we are under the new two-basin solution. And if we don't have any more rain, that means you don't. And if you do, it's very minimal. The first 80 years of this diversion, they would release 150,000 acre feet into the Russian River from Lake Mendocino every year. We are now down to 39,000. The new diversion would be an average of 30,000 released, but only during your seasonal releases. So it would not be when you need it. The last thought, which doesn't affect us as much because it's more of the Potter Valley area, these dams were not only created for hydroelectric, they were created for flood and drought control. So basically, Lake Pillsbury fills up when it's flooding so that the Eel River doesn't flood as much, and it pushes and fills up Lake Pillsbury. In the summertime, when the Eel runs dry, the Pillsbury runs the other direction and supplements the Eel River so that it doesn't run dry and the fish don't die. Without Lake Pillsbury and this diversion, you will be going dry in the Eel. You will absolutely go dry in the Russian River in our basin. Lake Mendocino will be on the chance of having a drought and running dry every single year. And Lake Sonoma will end up with the same problem because in their long-term plan, we will be drawing off of that, and that will make that affected more in the future. Water storage is very expensive. It's a great plan. But for us to get, say 9,000 acre feet into our river doesn't work. So we have to look at what it supplies for us. So we need 1,000 acre feet that we could store. And that's a lot of tanks. It's not going to happen. And it's, $2 million a tank at least, $2.5 million a tank right now. So that's where the $1 billion price tag comes in. The next steps are us to continue working with the federal government because they are helping us work with the state leaders. I am still working with our Sonoma Water. I spoke to them today. We have through James Gore and through our county and working with Sonoma Water, we have about $200,000 coming right now for geological studies for deeper wells, and so that we can do aquifer recharge and get below the water that is regulated by the state and pull water out of these wells in the times of need and times of drought because it's deeper into our basins and it's not regulated. It's dirtier, it's harder for our treatment plant to treat it. However, it's a last chance plan. Another thing we have done is Lake Mendocino and Sonoma Water, we have a contract going through to purchase water out of Lake Mendocino for just Cloverdale. It's kind of a farce, in my opinion, for the most part, because you can't take it if they don't have it, because they refuse to give it to you if they don't have it. So you can only take the water when you really don't need it that much. However, it's our right, and we're going to own that water for a minimal price, and it's worth it because if something bad happens, we know that we actually have a way to refill storage and things along those lines during different times of the year that we can take it from that lake. Have I hit everything that we've talked about that you guys know of? Because I know you guys don't know everything either. I've tried to give you as much as I can. as to where we are, but we're moving forward with state and federal leaders and PG&E. And the city of Cloverdale is not saying you only have to save the dams. That's not what this is about. It's about saving a water supply for our community. And so it doesn't matter what the plan is. We just have to make sure that we actually have enough water in our water supply. And this is one of the first things that I brought to Congressman Huffman is I said, can you just guarantee us the amount of water that we get now currently? Can you just at least guarantee us that? And then as population grows by percentage, our water increase goes by a percentage so that it's equal and fair. And they said, no, we can never guarantee you any water. So we have to fight on our own. And so I'll leave it at that. I'm going to look for questions from our council, and I will answer them the best that I can. And then we'll see how everybody does in public.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Lance. I do appreciate the work that you put in. It's been a lot of work. I know it's like there's council members in other cities that are affected by this that really are not even active at all. I think it's one of those situations that we need to reach out every single opportunity, and any kind of help that we can get, we need help. There's a lot that we don't know about this. I do have also some work that I've been working on and some suggestions and things to think about. One of the big questions that I have is really for, as the end result, you know, if the federal government does come in and somehow there's a lot of this talk that's sort of with this, is it the Save Lake Pillsbury Coalition? Is that the name of the group that you guys are with Brooke Rollins? Is there a name of that coalition?
No, there's not a name. There's multiple coalitions that are going on in the Potter Valley Basin or in Lake and Mendocino counties.
I know there's the Save Lake Pillsbury Alliance is one. They've been working for a long time. I didn't know if there was another name for the group that went down to the ag meeting. So one of the questions that comes up with any sort of alternative plan like this is, you know, who steps in, what agency comes in, how does that affect the end user and the direct ratepayers? So that's certainly, I think, one of the parts of that direction that needs clarification. You know, to sort of evaluate it against what is existing.
Can I respond to that before? Yeah. So with that is part of the confidential conversations that we're having. Okay. There are names on the table, I'll just say that. Okay. However, they're being kept quiet because we do not want people to try to destroy this before it really happens. When you talk about cost, I'll just do that one real quick as well. The cost to put in, as the independent engineering study was done in 2024, it was about 10% of the cost to rehab the dams and put in a fish ladder than it was just for the decommissioning. PG&E confidentially has said the decommissioning of just taking out the dams portion is going to be $1 billion to $2 billion, depending on how long it takes. And that comes out of the ratepayers. All ratepayers will be paying more money in their bill to pay for the removal of the dams which supply your water. And then this group called IRPA is going to be creating a new group. I'll just love the acronyms. It's called NERF. And they are going to be focusing on the two-basin solution. The two-basin solution, they won't give an estimate of what it is going to cost. Right now they're saying $50 million, but they're also behind the scenes saying upwards of $500 million. And then you also pay $1.75 million a year to the Round Valley Indian Tribe to take the water with the diversion that you put in. So the cost effectiveness, when you're talking less than $200 million to rehab and create a facility that will generate hydroelectric and actually be upgraded to fund itself, it is definitely the smarter and more efficient way to go.
Okay. So yeah, back to what I was saying. That's part of the deal. I think one of the specifics behind that we have to look at is, you know, there's direct users that might be on the line to pay for a government solution. With PG&E, when you say ratepayers, it doesn't always mean the direct users ratepayers. Those ratepayers might be spread out through California. So there's some of these things when you say, you know, let's take $1 billion, you know, some of that one solution might have $1 billion spread out across the state. One solution might have $1 billion that we directly pay for. So something that is traditionally happens with some of these government projects is the direct users are responsible for it. So we really have to take that into account when evaluating all these options. I think one thing to be aware of with the federal government, that there is sort of a direct connection with Brooke Rollins and Republican propaganda through the American First Policy Institute. Some of the rhetoric that's coming out through America Unwon, Keely Cavello was sponsored through an incubator by Michael Pack, the Palladium Pictures incubator, which is, he was appointed by Trump to be the CEO for the U.S. Agency of General Media. So there is a direct connection, propaganda through a think tank, that we have to be aware of, that a lot of these connections that Brooke Rollins is aware of Keely is not organic. It's all baked. And so that's something just to be aware of.
Absolutely, and I'll just tell you this started under a different administration, and that administration was not willing to help. So I don't care who is putting their name on the line to help Cloverdale with their water. It doesn't make a difference who they support, what policy they follow, or which political party they are with. I don't care. I've asked, I can go down this list, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, at least 14 on the left side. So I'm just telling you, that doesn't bother me. I don't care. Water isn't partisan.
I understand.
Water's life.
I'm not
I don't
saying
care who starts it or who helps us. They can have all the propaganda on a website or on their Instagram page. As a journalist out of LA, I don't care. She's a journalist out of LA. She's not part of this process other than that.
No, you're right. Water is nonpartisan. I'm not making a partisan issue. I'm just stating facts that there's connections with Brooke Rollins and some of this rhetoric that is not organic. It was baked. The Trump administration was around previously, so these things do go back to then. I'll take all the help we can get. Certainly, I think that's a good way to look at this, but I wouldn't be confused about the connections. That's all I'm saying with that. And if we're not getting help from certain people, that it's maybe a certain attempt. I can't say that any avenue is exhausted. One of the recommendations that I would have as far as our region goes is possibility of creating an MOU, eventually leading to a JPA with our region. This would sort of be the Alexander region. I do have an update with the Russian River's proposed Alexander Valley Water District. They are going to go to present to LAFCO in March. I think it's very important that we are diligent as a community to make sure that our needs are met. If they're going to create this new water district, we certainly have to be oversight in that process. So Ukiah Valley does have a group formed, the JPA, with the Inland Water and Power Commission. It's a group that involves the county, involves the city of Ukiah, and the unincorporated water district. So I think it's one of those things that we can do instead of kind of not going around and looking for help where maybe we're not going to find it. Of course, we should do everything, but one of the things that we can be active on is building this relationship to maybe look at this kind of formation within our region, that it would maybe include the city of Cloverdale, city of Healdsburg, Alexander Valley Water District, the Lytton and Dry Creek Rancheria. And so this is all the water users within this district that we can maybe invest in some of these solutions. That might be the raising a Coyote Dam. It could be the pipeline, second evacuation point from Lake Sonoma, that we need to get involved in this early. So when this comes down the road as solutions, that we're a part of it. We're going to get, our ratepayers are going to get the best rate for water possible. So certainly, I think I want to applaud you for your efforts, and I think that we should, all of the arms of our council and our city need to go out in every direction to find a solution for this. But I think there's a lot to gain from building positive relationships with our neighbors, looking at blueprints that have been successful, and trying to implement some of those here. One of the other questions I would have for our City Attorney Mogg, regarding the purchase agreement with Sonoma Water. Right now, because we're not buying any water from Sonoma Water, or the same thing with the Alexander Valley area, do they have a legal right to represent our area in conversations and in talks? Is it, sometimes they're speaking for the greater region, but that's one of my concerns, that if we do pursue a purchase agreement that maybe we don't necessarily need, it's good to have these things in our portfolio, but would that open us up to be represented by Sonoma Water when we do not have a seat at some of these tables?
No, and I guess I would say, to the extent, it would not change the status quo. Sonoma Water is a county-wide organization. Our member of the Board of Supervisors is on that board, but an agreement with them doesn't make them subject to that. So there are people who in the Southern County who get almost all of their water from them, who, for example, may have filed their own motions to intervene and things like that. So it doesn't make us beholden to Sonoma Water in any way.
Okay. So really sharing this information so we can take some steps forward that that we can work together. I would really like to get involved with my fellow council members, work on a strategy that's going to get us some results. I don't want to come back in another year and say we haven't accomplished anything. One of the other things that I want to propose is, this was one of the items I did propose last year. And then we talked to a Fish and Game official, and then they throw out the idea and we follow up, is having our list, our Water Resiliency Program Assessment Initial Project list. Now that we have this, I think we should expand it, and I think we should also prioritize some of the items in maybe a tier system, but at least this way, these are the kind of things that we need to act on, that when a funding opportunity does come through, that we're going to secure it. I'll pass it back.
So you're right about the list. We have a general list. In a future meeting, it will be something that I would imagine we would be bringing back, but I don't know if it's to that point yet. We just got it from the engineers. I do want to make a quick comment about working with our neighbors. It is something that we actually do pretty well and take pride in, but we have to be very cognizant of something. There's a lot that isn't put out into the public about the agreement that is out there with the Round Valley Indian Tribe and our water source and things that go on. And one of those things is that when we go into drought conditions, the state does it. The state imposes the drought conditions on you and suspends your water rights. And so even though we have the pre-1914 water rights, which is the oldest in the state other than certain tribes, the state doesn't take them from you, they suspend them. When they do that, under this new plan, they said they are going to bring all water users to the table and make you negotiate for water. And so everybody's on the same playing field. So this is why Alexander Valley is making a water district. So they now are going to be stronger than the city of Cloverdale and the city of Healdsburg with this. So we can play well together, but we have to also be cognizant that we have to protect ourselves. I'll just leave it at that.
That's exactly.
There's a reason for what they're doing. It is not to benefit Cloverdale.
That's exactly the point.
Even though I support it.
Yes, that's exactly the point I'm making, is working as a liaison with them and building a good relationship. I have the point that we can talk about these things. And I did have this conversation that, we got to look out for our interests. We got to participate. And so when they have their meeting with LAFCO, I know that there's a lot of concerns that LAFCO has about approving their water district. So I don't think it's certainly going to be easy for them. But part of that conversation was making sure that that we are diligent, and that we can keep our relationship up, and they kind of know that we have to look out for our interests as well, and have a good oversight with that. So that's really why I'm meeting with this group and attending their meetings, so I can bring this information back, make sure that we're all on the same page. And I am very cognizant of what folks' goals are, and so that's why mentioning that we should be a part of the process as well. And I would love the opportunity to work together. I think we are two of the most active people working on this water situation. I would maybe like to revisit a ad hoc thing, or maybe just open it up to the whole council that we could all work on this thing. And I just want to make sure that our city's official position kind of reflects what we all wrote within our letters to FERC. You know, there was 4 of our ex-council members in the city, and I think there was a similarity that I think all of our letters that we could 100% agree on, all the points that we were making in those letters. So I really like that as an official statement.
So we have to be very careful because those were personal letters. I'm not disagreeing.
They were
I'm just saying
personal,
those were personal letters.
But in agreement.
We do have our motion to intervene that was from the council, and that is something that we could use as our guiding document, in my opinion. Yeah, I'll stop right there because something was said that's kind of screwed me up, but I'll leave it alone.
You know, I did notice that with all of our statements, even though they were personal, we were all on the same page.
Absolutely. But also at the same time, we have to be very careful because if we're holding all these meetings in the public like this, then a lot of it is going to get lost because it's going to be defended before we leave the room. So that is why I still keep a lot of it in confidence, and I will continue to do that because it seems to be getting used against me or against us as a city, and I have to keep the best interest of the city in mind when I'm doing this. It is not just about making sure everyone is privy to everything because they feel like they should be.
I'm not sure what exactly you mean specifically. Kind of confusing.
I'm good for now, whatever you want to do.
Any other comments?
I would like to thank Vice Mayor Lands for all the work that he's done on the water, but I too wish that somehow this whole project could be more transparent and the 5 of us could be informed more often. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, I want to thank Vice Mayor Lands also. I know the amount of work that's gone into this, the amount of time that's gone into it. I'm not, I don't know if we are going to bring up administrations and old things and things aren't organic and all that stuff. I don't agree with that. I think Brooke Rollins is in a position to where she can really give us some help on this. So I'm not going to discount the amount of work, the time and hours that have gone into this. I personally have stepped away a little bit on this and let Vice Mayor Lands take the lead because of the connections that he has fostered, that he has grown, and that he has used. These are connections that your average Joe are not going to be able to get, and it's taken years to get these, up to close to 3 years, 2.5, 3 years to get these. So I'm not even getting any of the final updates when they say there's stuff that's not out there. Guess what? There's stuff that I don't know right now. And working in a partnership with Vice Mayor Lands here, that's why I said, hey, take the lead. This is your thing. And he's extremely smart at it and extremely aggressive. So I'm going to sit back and listen to these and trust that we know what's going on. I've seen the people he's talked to. I've been in a couple of those meetings. I've seen how confidential you do have to keep some things. You can't just put it all out there or you're going to get blindsided. So once again, thank you very much for your report out. That is a lot of information. I was privy to some of it, not all of it. But thank you. Thank you for what you do. Andreas, thank you for what you do. Councilmember Marquez, sorry about that. You are also putting feet on the ground and doing your due diligence. I really appreciate it. So working together, I think we definitely can come up with, hopefully we can pass information back and forth and it's not going to be all secret squirrel stuff here in the near future and we can get some water and be solvent for Cloverdale. That's my opinion on that. That's my final statement on that. Thank you very much. Any comments from the public?
Good evening. My name is Lori Mahoney. I'm a resident of Cloverdale. I just want to, again, everyone said it, but we hear you, we see you, we respect you. We are so grateful for what you're doing for us. You have no idea. I want you to consider myself and others as probably the wrong word, but part of your army. If you need us, call on us. We really want to support you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Seeing none?
What happened to Jennifer?
She left. Yep. Okay.
Hi, my name's Annabelle Burke. You mentioned that there would be a time when this would go into law or they changed the rules. Is that set now, or is that something in the future in terms of like if we run out of water?
Oh, you're talking about like during droughts?
Yeah.
So that is something that the state will put us into drought mandates when we have no water.
From now on, that's the law?
Still anytime, at any given time, they can do that if there is no water.
When did that start?
It's always been in effect.
Oh.
And so I think it was 2023, we had drought conditions in Sonoma County, and the state actually mandated it for the whole state. And we were told that we could only use 50. We actually fought and got it to 55 gallons a day. It was their first minimum, and then we got it to, I believe it was 65 or 70? I'm sorry.
I think it was even higher than 70.
I think it went up to, I was going to say 104.
It was not, that was the third time.
Oh, okay.
So what we do is we try to negotiate with the state for more need and why, and we argue with them and debate with them.
So I've already gone through this.
Yeah. You've been through it. So basically what it does is the state will come in and say we can only use 55 gallons a day per person, which is a shower or a load of laundry. So you have to decide on a daily basis if you can do a load of laundry, things like that.
Okay, so it's not really changed from...
No, but it will be
before.
every year you will have this problem where you will have no water and it'll be longer duration so that you won't be able to have a lawn or have a garden.
So is that what
type of
also... So that's what starts already? That's
Correct.
what started. Every year from now on, we're going to have less water?
Correct.
Wow, okay. I really appreciate what you're doing. It's quite difficult.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the dais?
And I think it's just good that we actually speak facts, kind of stay away from assumptions about this project. There's a lot of things that come out that are really not facts. They're assumptions. These assumptions should be backed up with studies and references, and our community can't just be gaslit with this information. It's dangerous. This is why we had such a group show up for the WSA at our last meeting, thinking that there's going to be these dire consequences that really to say that is going to happen is false. So we got to work to make sure that we're in the best predicament, but let's be clear on what we're relaying to the community, that it's fact-based, not assumptions that we're making and relaying off as factual information. It's very dangerous.
If you're trying to say that I'm giving things that aren't fact-based, you're wrong. And that is exactly why I have to keep information confidential, because this is my opponent. This is the person that pushes back to the detriment of the city, that sits and says things like this. I have no words other than that for you right now. That is so disrespectful and so out of line that I have nothing else on that.
Well, I'll add, I'm not your opponent. I'm a fellow council member. I am allowed to speak. To be framed as an opponent, again, that's dangerous. What I'm asking is that we don't give our community assumptions that are not based in fact. If to say that things are going to end a certain way and this is how it's going to be is an assumption, it's not a part of a study, it's really just some made up stuff, and that should be known. It's dangerous when people are given this information and they believe it. That's why we had such a group here at our last meeting that were really not understanding about the water assessment that was done. And they're confused. So I think we need to be cognizant of our messaging.
So can I ask you which part of what I am saying is a lie?
Well, there's a lot, but what I'm talking about is when there's assertions that the river will be dry every single year, that all the animals will die. There was a podcast, Ag West News Hour, that you went on a few days ago, and it was really a lot of these types of assumptions. So I would say just listen to that podcast. You can detail all the things that were said, and not a lot of them can be referenced to a study or any other information directly. It was a lot of assertions. And so for one example, the podcast is full of them.
Perfect, and this is why I keep it in confidence so that you don't have the detriment of the city by doing this, and that is why you were not selected for this committee or group to take care of the water. That is why I would never recommend you for it, and that is why I'm going to question why you call yourself a liaison for one of our water groups. When we have a list of our subcommittees and liaisons, and you are not any of them on that. That is part of our water program, and that is not you. So I would love to hear it talking about misinformation and passing things out of why we're doing this, and this is why I look at you misrepresenting yourself. It is untruthful. It's inauthentic. These comments you're making now are a detriment to the city, because the more we debate and fight within ourselves, we're spinning our wheels and getting nowhere. And if you want to talk about nothing happening in a year, this is exactly how you do it. We had this conversation in a meeting a few months back, and I was the mayor, and I actually said we needed to be very careful about how we handle things and put things out as misrepresentation. And if it was necessary, we would push all the way to censure. And I did this in front of our city manager and in front of our city attorney, so that we had witness as the mayor and as the council that we were already warning you, and here we are again. I'm having a very difficult time. Excuse me.
Violated any code of conduct.
I'm having a very hard time with this.
To accuse me of such a thing is a point of order. To accuse me that I have violated a code of conduct is false. I have not violated code of conduct, and I'm making a point of order to state that.
Okay, I'd like to say something here. We're going to go, and this is speaking with the city attorney right here. Andreas Marquez, Cloverdale City Council. And this had to be adjusted, but this got put out on social media as the liaison.
Mm-hmm.
That is a violation of the code of conduct.
What is?
By putting this out and representing the city without getting your council approval on this. Am I correct? Alex, correct me if I'm wrong. Is this a violation of the code of conduct?
The code of conduct requires council members to be clear when they're speaking individually and when they're speaking and authorized to speak on behalf
Exactly.
of the city.
So, how is it a violation? As a Cloverdale City Council member, I'm working as a liaison. You have never been listed as the liaison.
I didn't specify liaison for the city. I said I'm a council member, an individual council member. So let's be specific. Okay.
Can we just do a quick point of order? Can we have one person speak at a time? The mayor does have the floor.
We can
sit up here and argue. All I'm saying is I spoke with the city attorney. That is our attorney right now. That is deemed a violation of the code of conduct. Am I correct?
It's up to the council to decide if that's a violation.
So can I bring that up for a vote to see if it's what's my recourse here, Alex?
So under our code of conduct, any individual can make a referral to the city attorney about a violation, and I would present a report to the council. So at a future meeting, and the council would decide whether there's been a violation and what process to take. Given what the circumstances you're discussing, I don't think there'd be any factual inquiry. It would be, for the council to decide based on that post.
Okay. So just any council can make a referral?
Yes.
I would like to make a referral as the mayor.
And I have a question for our city attorney. So you're saying there's nothing factual behind this, and this is up to the council. They can punish somebody for whatever they feel like it. in that post, I said, as a city council member, I'm an individual member. I never said I was working on behalf of the city. Is that correct?
I think by so.
So I don't have the comment in front of us, and this would be on I'd come back to the council to discuss this, and it certainly would be your right at that time to explain why it is not a violation or why it was not.
If I have the opportunity to do that, I look forward to it.
Thank you. All right. Any other comments on Potter Valley from the public or from the dais? All right, let's move on to council member reports. Council members may provide verbal information reports regarding their participation in assigned subcommittees, regional boards and commissions, and ad hoc committees and other community civic activities. Council member Lasky.
Thank you, Mayor. Obviously, it's been a while since we've reported out. December was a busy month for all of us. I attended, along with the mayor and the vice mayor, we attended Wreaths Across America in December. Just their mission statements is to remember the fallen, honor those who serve, teach the next generation the value of freedom. So it was an honor to represent the city as well as my chosen service, the United States Navy, to honor all of those who have served in our armed forces. So that was a wonderful half day that we attended. And then just happened to be on that same day, Vice Mayor Lands and myself went to a meet and greet with former Congressman Doug LaMalfa in Santa Rosa. He was in town to speak on redistricting. I appreciate the time and dedication he gave to his constituents. May he rest in peace. I would also like to commend other members of the council for supporting the ribbon cutting ceremony that we all went to for PICS. It was great to see the community gathering to support PICS. And as a council, we wish the owners in that business well. The Christmas tree lighting, obviously that was a big hit. No rain, great turnout. We're just hoping that based on retirement information, that the Grinch might make an appearance next year. I also attended my regional board, Sonoma Clean Power, and they are in the midst of procuring some property in Ukiah to start their own solar farm, to generate revenue to help keep ratepayers' bills down. So that was a win-win for everybody. As I said earlier, myself and Councilmember Marquez attended the League of California Cities with council members representing many cities across California, and you probably haven't heard of many of them. Everybody was like, where's Cloverdale? That was, yeah, it was a little bit of a test for some people. So the conferences covered, anything from land planning, social media etiquette, obviously the do's and don'ts of that, and the most important one, keeping your city financially fit. So if you're not into math at the beginning of that seminar, you sure are at the end, because there's a lot of good information to make sure your city is financially fit. So that's all I got.
Did you have any?
Go ahead.
Councilmember Marquez.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. This is kind of a lengthy one. We have not had a meeting for a while, so taking it back to December. On Thursday, December 11th, I attended the Sonoma County Tourism's Coffee and Collaboration. This was an event where I networked with fellow council members and staff, learned how tourism performed in Sonoma County in 2025 and how we're expecting tourism to perform in 2026. On Thursday, also the same day, I attended the Eel Russian Project Authority Board meeting where they discussed the integration with PG&E and potential schedule. They adopted a resolution to submit an application and execute a grant agreement with the California Department of Fish and Wildlife to receive approximately $9 million for the new Eel Russian facility known as NERF, Planning, Design, and Russian River Water Supply Resilience Project. Following that meeting, I attended the Inland Water and Power Commission Board meeting. They discussed program components, beneficiaries, and potential funding mechanisms. Thursday, December 18th, alongside with Councilmember Morgenstern, we participated in Sonoma County Tourism's accredited hospitality professionals tour of Cloverdale. We did visit a number of businesses and want to highlight a few of them: Cloverdale House Inn, SoCo Trading Company, the North End, Cloverdale Home and Garden, and Mavis and Mavis. All these businesses, since moving to Cloverdale, have expanded their footprint, and that speaks really well to our community support, and how businesses can thrive here. On Thursday, January 8th, again, and attended another Mendocino Inland Water and Power Commission. This meeting, they discussed water resiliency and storage options, groundwater wells, that they're not just going to put them all throughout the valley, but they'll do some studies, and those can be supplemental and also scalable in their overall portfolio. This is for Potter Valley. They discussed smaller tributary dams and the idea of flooding a portion of the southern part of the valley. They negotiated the benefits of cost, and they ranked the options and spoke about diligence in presenting all options, that when you're looking for funding, even having some of these ideas that might sound off the wall that you're going to shelf, you keep it on your list, and it shows that you've been diligent. Saturday, January 10th was the grand opening for the Cloverdale Grange Thrift Shop. They had over 200 patrons visit. Want to highlight an article that was featured in the Press Democrat, written by Mary Jo Winters, speaks to some of the history and the work that went into that project. That was followed up with the grand opening at PIX. Wednesday, January 14th, I did attend the Russian River Property Owners Association board meeting, which I am reporting on here at this time. They have their petition for the proposed Alexander Valley Water District has been determined and certified. So they will be presenting to LAFCO, which is the Sonoma Local Agency Formation Commission. They've tentatively scheduled the first of what is expected to be 2 hearings on the proposal on Wednesday, March 4th, 2026, on or after 2 p.m. at the Board of Supervisors chambers. This is why I'm going to this meeting, is so I can bring this factual information back to our council, and we can have participation in a matter that is going to affect our city. I think it's a benefit to us all. Thursday, January 14th, I attended the Zero Waste Sonoma board meeting. We held an election of officer to elect Rohnert Park Mayor Emily Sanborn, who will be serving as chair for 2026, discuss the fiscal year 2026 to 2027 work plan. Also want to mention that I delivered 15 gallons of recycled paint in grayish color for our public works to use as graffiti abatement, provided by Sonoma Zero Waste in cooperation with Recology. The Cal Cities event that I attended with Councilmember Lasky was Wednesday to Friday, January 21st to 23rd. Really attending these things as with a mind state that I'm always a student. Some of the key things that were learned were effective advocacy for key city issues, policy role in land use planning, developing an effective city council and city manager team. I also attended the Environmental Quality Policy Committee. That was a meeting of one of 6 policy committees that is part of the Cal Cities program. These are opportunities that mayors, council members have to be a part of California's budget to advocate for things that they need for their town. So there's really good opportunity for our city to participate in some of those policy committees and help us get the funding that we need. Also want to mention, this is kind of a situation that's in the works regarding our outdoor education in the city of Cloverdale. I've been doing some work through Sonoma Land Trust to get them interested in our open spaces, trying to acquire some more of our open space. That's a new relationship that the city of Cloverdale has. We worked with reaching out to educational partners of Lauren Haig with Weaving Earth and Christy Clark with Land Paths. Also worked with Principal Holden at Jefferson School and Cloverdale Park Superintendent Hector Galvan. What's happening is coming up, Weaving Earth took a site visit with our park superintendent at Soda Creeks, and they will be pushing their outdoor education that was previously out of town. They'll be bringing that back to Cloverdale for our local students. That integrates education into our open spaces. It's going to help us gain funding in the future and really overall bring the children, their parents more closely tied in with the environment around us. So that'll save money on transportation and loss of time during transportation for our school and students. They're expected to possibility of holding all April field trips for the Jefferson first graders at Soda Springs Ranch open space, as well as potentially moving some or all of the 2026 to 2027 school year field trips up there. And lastly, just want to mention there was a memorial held for Mr. Alan Ferber on December 13th at the Citrus Fair. The auditorium was packed with a lot of residents, family, and friends. In his honor, if you would like to make a donation to the Cloverdale Historical Society by visiting the Cloverdale History Museum, they are open 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Friday through Sunday. And that's what I got. Thank you.
Councilmember Morgenstern.
December 18th in the morning, I attended a Russian River watershed meeting in Windsor. We had a presentation from Plant Harmony, an environmental educator, owns the company, and what she does is she tries to figure out things like which pesticides are less toxic, so they won't affect our creeks and rivers as badly as the toxic ones. And she has different sections in different stores. She helps, like some Ace Hardwares, put together a less toxic pesticide section so that buyers can go in there and buy something less toxic. That afternoon, along with Council Member Marquez, I participated in the Sonoma County Tourism Walk of Cloverdale. The purpose was to promote Cloverdale along with Sonoma County. We saw the interior of the hotel at the Supper Club, which, if anyone gets the chance, they've done a really beautiful remodeling job, and it was like really exciting to see. January 22nd, I attended an Ag and Open Space Advisory meeting that included a community relations update along with a review of the year of what Ag and Open Space did in 2025. February 2nd, I will be attending a Santa Rosa Junior College roundtable with a college superintendent, Dr. Garcia, on the Schoen Farm. This is in Forestville. The purpose will be regarding workforce training and unique needs of North County and the agricultural community.
Great. I won't repeat the ones that you've already heard. Russian River Property Owners Association, I met with one of their members recently. We discussed the watershed, vegetation management, and a lot of in-stream maintenance issues and ways that we can work together. I met with Assemblyman Damon Connolly, and we had a great conversation regarding ways that we can do different projects in this area, especially because he is looking to be our senator, I believe it is at this point. So he had a lot of good ideas, and we presented quite a few things to him and ways that we can work together, so that was good. You attended the same meeting there. I attended the Employee Appreciation Dinner for the holidays. It was great. We had a good time. I believe we were all there from the council, so that was a great showing, and I thank the city and the Police Officers Association for putting it on. We talked about that one. One thing that I did is I went to the Kiwanis Crab Feed, where Councilman Marquez is the president of Kiwanis right now. The good part for me was Congressman LaMalfa actually went as my guest. He actually invited me, but it was nice to go that he wanted to come to Cloverdale and do some stuff, and it was a great time to learn more about him as a family man and his personal interests and things along those lines. It wasn't just work related. So it was great to get to know him, and the sad thing is it was the last time we got to do anything together, and it was just a few days before he passed. We held the light and display contest right before Christmas. It was a great turnout. We had I'd say about 40 people go with us on trailers and drive around and look at the lights and in Cloverdale and judge them. Chief, I don't know if you remember who won that.
John Rickard.
That's right, John Rickard. Okay, that's right. It wasn't Chief. Maybe got to cross that out. It was not Chief. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, he had the power outage. No Grinch.
But he did win the rib up.
He did win.
Grand champion.
Another thing I got to do, I went to, like I already said, I'm trying not to repeat things, so I will leave the Sonoma Water Biological Opinion, a meeting that was great. And then I was actually invited as a guest to Congressman LaMalfa's funeral. And so that was a great opportunity to go and say our goodbyes to a friend and somebody that really cared about our area. And so it was great to be a part of that. And I was blessed to be his guest for his last night. That's all I'm going to report on.
All right, my report out. What do we got here? There's a lot of them I'm not going to repeat also. I have gone ahead and worked on blood drive. I realized Red Cross is a little more difficult. They do have some borders and some limits where they will come up to, so went with a different company. Blood drives in the future, big one in June, coming up at the Veterans Hall. There's also one, same company's going to do it behind Papa's Pizza coming up here in the near future. They did the blood drive at the fire department just recently, so we're getting a lot of traction on that. The only thing is you do have to, we're going to put flyers out and all that, you do have to sign up for an appointment with these folks. So if you can get on, there's QR codes, there's sign-ups. They will do their darndest to get it in for you or get you in there, and goes to one big central blood bank. And, who knows if you're the next person or help one of your Cloverdale residents, if something happens, you need blood, that's the way to do it. So we're really going to start driving getting these blood drives going. Also, got a hold of one of our District 4 reps down there working on some funding for our parks department and some parks upgrades. Have a meeting set up in the very near future. The actual rep himself is out of the country for 3 weeks, but I do have a contact that's willing to come up here and talk to us. I've talked to him before, great guy, and hopefully we can make that happen. Coffee with the mayor went down. That was primarily, wasn't much of coffee with the mayor. It was more of coffee with the new Grange Hall thrift store and how that's going. It was a pretty good presentation. They do need a lot of volunteers down there. If you have any time, go down to the thrift store, get with one of the previous council members, I believe Marianne Brigham, and there's some other ladies there that would love to have your help down there. And that's the new spot in town. They realize the potential or the need for a thrift store, reasonable prices, everything down there. And they brought it to Cloverdale and made it happen. So good for them. Also, what else do we have? Oh, I had the Sonoma County Mayor's Board of Directors meeting, went to that. The main discussion on that was topics for talking points for coming up for all of our dinners. So we did come up with some good topics and some different topics this year. So I think that'll be good. And we also have one of those meetings coming up. I don't have the exact date. I believe it might be the 12th of February coming up. So hopefully a lot of the council members are attending that. That's all I have to report out on. All right. City managers, agenda reports.
Just real quick, the Citrus Fair is February 13th through the 16th. We do have a booth, kind of the full time, so if anyone wants to volunteer to be at the booth, let me know. Other than that, we will have tickets for all you guys too.
Future agenda items?
Yes, I would just like to add the idea of a future agenda item for city council public presentation on the governance manual.
Is there consensus on the item?
So I think that will be included as part of what the workshop that the council directed earlier, going over the governance manual would be part of that.
Would that be public as well?
Yeah, it will be a public meeting. I don't know if it probably won't be part of a regular meeting, but it'll be open to the public.
Okay. Because I guess my suggestion to put it at a regular meeting is that it's good for the public to also get updated on our new governance manual. I think it's a benefit for people to know how our governance structure works. So my recommendation would be to have a public presentation at a council meeting.
It's up to the council. I can certainly do it twice. The meeting would be, we can make sure the workshop is someplace it could be recorded as well.
The workshop is an open meeting to the public, so there's no reason, in my opinion, to have it twice.
If it's going to be recorded and published, I would be happy with that.
We can make that.
Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Really appreciate you hung with us the whole